Chapter 40-37. Who broke the Eight Gates maze formation? Zhao Qianquan shouted angrily. He thought he could easily defeat all the geniuses of the human clan, but he didn't expect such a thing to happen. It doesn't matter who broke it. You Feather Clan made such a big plot to frame the human clan. This hatred is absolutely irreconcilable. Zhao Qianquan, I will kill you today to avenge the death of those disciples of the martial pavilion. Li Long was imposing and murderous. As the saying goes, when enemies meet, their eyes turn red. Not to mention Li Long was so angry at the moment. Humph! Li Long, do you think you can kill me? The Star Lord's ruins will be the grave of you disciples of the martial pavilion. None of you can leave. Even without the Eight Gates maze formation, you are no match for the Feather Clan. Zhao Qianquan snorted and fought fiercely with Li Long. Swish, swish, swish. Because of their slow reaction, many Feather Clan members couldn't resist the desperate reunion of the disciples of the martial pavilion. They began to display their advantages and flapped their wings in the air. Take out your flight talismans and fight with the birdmen. Someone shouted. This time, everyone brought enough flight talismans to the Star Lord's ruins. That was why they were fighting with the Feather Clan members. For disciples of the Unity Origin Realm who couldn't fly, flight talismans were the best. A crazy battle broke out in the Star Lord's space. The Human Clan and the Feather Clan would not stop until one of them was dead. Killing, hell, and the smell of blood permeated the sky. This battle was a battle of life and death. It was either you die or I live. Screams filled the sky, and the disciples of the Human Clan and the Feather Clan were dying one after another. War was cruel, and the war between the Human Clan and the Feather Clan was even crueler. This battle was a real experience for both the disciples of the Human Clan and the Feather Clan. They had experienced real killing and life and death. To put it bluntly, as long as they could walk out of the Star Lord's ruins alive, their future achievements would be limitless. For a cultivator, nothing was more important than a strong mind. A strong mind was the most basic foundation of a cultivator. On the other side, Ji Tian was leading a large team. The battle was also abnormally intense, and it was no different from the other two battlefields. The disciples of the martial pavilion seemed to have gone crazy, and they did not care about their lives at all. This kind of fearless demeanor really frightened the Feather Clan. In fact, the three battlefields weren't very far from each other. Anyone who fought here could feel the madness and murderous aura of the other two battlefield. At this moment, everyone was clear in their hearts, especially the disciples of the martial pavilion. They already knew that the so-called Star Lord's relic was merely a conspiracy of the Feather race. The real Star Lord's relic had already been swept clean by the Feather race. In other words, it was an empty shell that had existed for a very long time. There were no treasures left inside. Such a huge conspiracy, coupled with the fact that the disciples of the martial pavilion were constantly being killed, had already stimulated the hearts of the disciples of the martial pavilion. They had recovered from despair and awakened from death. They were no longer afraid of anything. When they started killing, they did not care about their lives. Jiang Chen spread his dragon wings and soared into the sky. With a sword in hand, his white robes fluttered in the wind, making him look like a peerless god of war. He just stood there, motionless like a god, directly affecting the hearts of every disciple of the martial pavilion. At this moment, Jiang Chen was like a stabilizing force. It seemed that as long as he stood there, the disciples of the martial pavilion would feel 100 times more confident. In other words, Jiang Chen's position in the hearts of all the disciples of the martial pavilion had surpassed Nie Xiaoying. It didn't matter how strong Jiang Chen's cultivation was, it was Jiang Chen's omnipotent means that had left an indelible impression in everyone's hearts. Breaking the Eight Gates maze formation set up by a heavenly source expert with a wave of his hand. Just this alone was enough for Jiang Chen to win everyone's respect. Just this alone was enough for Jiang Chen to save the lives of all the disciples of the martial pavilion. On the battlefield that stretched for hundreds of miles, the human race and the Feather race were engaged in a life-and-death battle. Xie Ting, Zhang Qing, Han Dong, and Feng Wei were among them. Each of them was braver than the last. They had all been guided by Jiang Chen. In such battles, they gradually made up for their shortcomings. It could be said that they were constantly improving in this life-and-death battle. Boom! A wave of air was released from Feng Wei's body. Feng Wei laughed out loud. Ha ha ha, I've advanced. I've advanced in battle. Feng Wei was extremely excited. Amidst the fierce slaughter, he didn't forget to look back at Jiang Chen. This was his irreplaceable ancestor in his heart. If it wasn't for his ancestors' guidance, he wouldn't have been able to achieve what he had today. Swish! A seventh heavenly layer feather race expert arrived before Feng Wei in the blink of an eye. Clearly, Feng Wei's sudden advancement had attracted his attention. He wanted to guide Feng Wei and kill him. In such a chaotic battlefield, there was no morality at all. No one would choose to fight evenly with you. All the battles and attacks were for the sake of killing. Unfortunately, as soon as the disciple approached Feng Wei, he was slashed in half by a sword light from afar. A chill rose in Feng Wei's heart. He suddenly turned around and saw that Jiang Chen had already appeared not far away from him. There was still a feather left on his sword. "Thank you, ancestor," Feng Wei said gratefully. His face was filled with lingering fear. Although he had advanced to the 6th heavenly layer, he wasn't the opponent of a 7th heavenly layer feather race expert. Not to mention that he had been too complacent because of his advancement. The 7th heavenly layer feather race expert had even launched a sneak attack on him. If it wasn't for Jiang Chen's help, he would have died in the hands of the feather race expert. While feeling grateful, Feng Wei couldn't help but be shocked by Jiang Chen's strength. A 7th heavenly layer feather race expert had been killed with a raise of his hand without any suspense. Moreover, this was the first time Feng Wei had seen Jiang Chen fly in the sky. He didn't need the help of a flight talisman. His dragon wings were extremely mighty and domineering. In Feng Wei's heart, this ancestor of his was truly omnipotent. Monstrous wasn't enough to describe his strength. He had so many techniques and trump cards that it was enough to raise eyebrows. It was hard to imagine that such a miraculous disciple existed in the martial pavilion. Aside from his slightly lower cultivation, Jiang Chen was more than enough to be the teacher of everyone in the martial pavilion. Be careful. Follow what I've taught you. When it comes to killing, the focus is on the word kill. No beautiful moves can compare to a one-hit kill. In a true battle of life and death, you have to attack your enemy's vitals. Jiang Chen said. He didn't forget to give Feng Wei pointers during the battle. Feng Wei had called him ancestor after all, so there was no reason for him not to help him. Chapter 4038. Nie Xiaoying couldn't help but be shocked. She had first heard of Jiang Chen's reputation as the legend of the Bestial Colosseum when she was at the Martial Pavilion. Just now, he had single-handedly broken the 8 Gates maze formation and could even change his wings to fly. She also knew Feng Wei's identity. Of course, a large part of the reason was that Feng Tianhua was Feng Wei's grandfather. Feng Tianhua's usual behavior was very arrogant and domineering. Now, he respectfully called Jiang Chen Ancestral Master. Why did he call him Ancestral Master? Could it be that Jiang Chen was Feng Tianhua's master? Who was this Jiang Chen? Furthermore, Jiang Chen's words of guidance to Feng Wei were truly the demeanor of a great master. Even Nie Xiaoying benefited greatly after listening to it. Furthermore, Jiang Chen had easily killed a 7th heavenly layer Unity Realm expert with a single sword strike. It was simply too easy, like slaughtering a chicken or a dog. Nie Xiaoying had never seen such a terrifying challenge. Thank you for your guidance, ancestor. Feng Wei cupped his fists at Jiang Chen and then charged into the battlefield. On the other side, Xie Ting and a peak 8th layer Unity Origin Realm Featherman were locked in a fierce battle. This Featherman wasn't easy to deal with either. The two of them exchanged blows and were evenly matched. Xie Ting, the divine martial sword art, can turn dots into lines and lines into dots. You can break through to the 6th form, Jiang Chen said. Hearing this, Xie Ting's eyes suddenly lit up. He was once again enlightened. His sword technique was like thunder, vigorous and vigorous. His sword was like a dragon, wild like the wind, and the sword light spun. The 6th move of the divine martial sword art, Xie Ting shouted. He had been unable to break through the 6th move of the divine martial swordsmanship, but at this moment, he performed it with irresistible force. It was like a river that suddenly burst forth, and it was truly unstoppable. The winged man was careless and couldn't resist the power of the 6th style of the divine martial sword art. His chest was pierced on the spot. Thank you for your guidance, teacher. Xie Ting was extremely excited. He had been training hard for the 6th style for a long time and had reached a bottleneck. Today, he had made a breakthrough because of Jiang Chen's words. He was really excited. At this moment, Xie Ting could easily kill a Unity Origin Realm Featherman. Voila! This scene was witnessed by many disciples of the Martial Pavilion. Each of them looked at Jiang Chen as though they were looking at a real god. Holy shit, this is too awesome. Some people's eyes widened. They had seen awesome people, but they had never seen such an awesome person. What did it mean to turn stone into gold? Her words hit the nail on the head and shocked everyone. Feng Wei called him ancestor, while Xueqi called him teacher. At this moment, many people finally understood why Feng Wei and Xueqing's cultivation improved so quickly. So it was because of Jiang Chen's guidance. Teacher Jiang Chen, please give me some pointers. Someone shouted loudly, unleashing their own powerful battle skills. They did not hold back at all as they fought against their opponents. They wanted to properly display their skills in front of Jiang Chen so that Jiang Chen could point out where they were lacking. Teacher, me too. Please give me some pointers. Senior brother Jiang, no, teacher. Remember to give me some pointers. For a moment, the disciples of the martial pavilion went crazy. They were even more excited than before. They even treated this life-and-death battlefield as a place to improve their cultivation. With a powerful teacher like Jiang Chen here, there was no reason for them to let go of this opportunity. Jiang Chen was not stingy either. He looked around and pointed out the shortcomings of these disciples one by one. Giving pointers in battle was the best. Many people who were stuck in a bottleneck immediately broke through. The effect was simply unimaginable. Ha ha ha. The disciples of the martial pavilion kept laughing. This kind of battle was really too interesting. This trip to the Star-Lord's ruins had not been in vain just by being able to receive pointers from Jiang Chen. They had killed so many feathermen that they wailed in pain. This guy, what the hell is he? Nie Xiaoying's pretty face was full of shock. She had never seen such a magical person. Although she did not ask for Jiang Chen's pointers at the beginning, Jiang Chen's words had affected her invisibly, giving her a little more comprehension. Now, there were signs of a breakthrough. Teacher Jiang Chen, please give me some pointers. Nie Xiaoying did not put on any airs at this time. She asked Jiang Chen for advice in an extremely humble manner. Who the hell is that bastard? Eighth young master, quickly find a way to kill him. The leader of the winged people was afraid. Not only him, but all the winged people had noticed Jiang Chen. Among all the disciples of the martial pavilion, this guy who was only at the 8th heavenly layer of the origin realm had become the most feared existence in the entire Feather Clan. The leader of the winged people could not help but be afraid. Nie Xiaoying was too strong. It was already difficult for him to deal with Nie Xiaoying, who was at the peak of the 1st heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm. If Jiang Chen gave Nie Xiaoying some pointers and allowed her to break through to the 2nd heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm, would he still be able to survive? The Feather Clan did not know that such a monster had appeared in the martial pavilion. They had absolute reason to suspect that the destruction of the 8 Gates Maze formation was definitely related to Jiang Chen. Kill him. The 8th young master could also see how terrifying Jiang Chen was. In order to not give Jiang Chen the chance to give Nie Xiaoying pointers, he immediately gave the order. Swish swish. 5 winged people at the 8th heavenly layer of the origin realm charged at Jiang Chen at the same time. They had to kill Jiang Chen together. Otherwise, the Feather Clan would suffer great losses if he just stood there and gave pointers. Be careful. Teacher Jiang Chen. Someone warned him out of kindness. Jiang Chen revealed a smile at the corner of his mouth. His eyes were calm. Not to mention 5 winged people at the 8th heavenly layer of the origin realm. Even if there were another 50 of them, Jiang Chen would not be able to kill them. Sword 22. Jiang Chen did not hold back and immediately used Sword 22. Arg! A miserable scream was heard. The winged person at the 8th heavenly layer of the origin realm who charged the fastest didn't even see how Jiang Chen made his move. He died under Jiang Chen's sword. The whole process was extremely fast and extremely sharp. What? Countless exclamations were heard. The leader of the winged people, the 8th young master, many winged people, some disciples of the martial pavilion, and Nie Xiaoying all exclaimed. This was too strong, too strong. Even Nie Xiaoying didn't see how Jiang Chen made his move. She was originally worried about Jiang Chen, but now it seemed that her worries were all unnecessary. Jiang Chen's means were more terrifying than she had imagined. Nie Xiaoying even felt that among all the disciples of the martial pavilion, no one was a match for Jiang Chen except for herself. With such an expert helping her, Nie Xiaoying was not afraid of this battle at all. She was full of confidence. For the other disciples of the martial pavilion, with Jiang Chen around, they had a backbone. However, Xueqi, Zhang Qing, and the others were not surprised at all. They had already seen how terrifying Jiang Chen was. Jiang Chen's means were far more than that. He still had more terrifying transformation skills that he hadn't displayed yet. Chapter 4039. Killing an 8th heavenly layer winged person with a single strike, Jiang Chen had displayed his might. He was like an unparalleled god of war, giving the disciples of the martial pavilion confidence. With Jiang Chen present, the disciples of the martial pavilion had the belief that they were invincible. Can't even withstand a single blow. Jiang Chen took the initiative to attack with his sword. He executed the limitless sword to the limit. This was the peak of swordsmanship. The essence of the sword and the profoundness of the sword were all perfectly manifested in a single strike. To sword cultivators, Jiang Chen was the ancestor of swordsmanship. A casual strike from him was enough for countless people to study for a lifetime. Ugh! A miserable shriek rang out once again. Another 8th heavenly layer winged person died under Jiang Chen's sword. Facing the limitless sword, the winged person could not fight back at all. Although their wings were fast, they were not on the same level as Jiang Chen's dragon wings. With the dragon wings, Jiang Chen's speed, lethality, and swordsmanship were all superior. He was almost invincible below the Unity Origin realm. Nye Xiaoying, watch my sword. Jiang Chen's aura changed once again. The sword in his hand flickered, and a dazzling sword shadow shot towards another winged person in an extremely gorgeous manner. Nye Xiaoying hurriedly looked over and was dumbfounded. She was shocked to discover that the swordsmanship that Jiang Chen had executed this time was actually her own swordsmanship, and it was a perfect and improved version. So this is what the real startling sword style looks like. Nye Xiaoying's eyes lit up. She had cultivated the startling sword style for many years and had encountered many bottlenecks. But what Jiang Chen had executed was almost perfect. Nye Xiaoying was both excited and shocked. She was excited because her swordsmanship was perfect. Jiang Chen's swordsmanship was enough for her to comprehend for many years. If she could comprehend it herself, it would not be a problem for her to immediately reach the 2nd heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm. She was shocked because Jiang Chen had only seen her swordsmanship in the battle with the winged person leader, and he could directly copy it. Such a shocking ability could no longer be described as monstrous or abnormal. He couldn't find any adjectives to describe it. It was simply too strong. Nye Xiaoying believed that in terms of cultivation attainments, even the head of the martial pavilion, Wu Changtian, would have to call Jiang Chen teacher in the entire Qidong region and the entire martial pavilion. Thank you for your guidance, teacher. Nye Xiaoying's face was filled with excitement. At this moment, she looked at Jiang Chen with adoration and respect, but there was also a hint of adoration. However, there was nothing that could be done about it. A man like Jiang Chen's charisma was simply too great. Not to mention Nye Xiaoying. Just think about Jiang Chen's wives in the lower realm. Which one of them wasn't a goddess? After being guided by Jiang Chen, Nye Xiaoying's movement technique and swordsmanship began to become extremely sharp. He turned around and fought fiercely with the leader of the winged people, instantly gaining the upper hand. Damn it, when did such a powerful person appear in the human race? The leader of the winged people was about to vomit blood. Nye Xiaoying was already very powerful, and it was quite difficult for him to fight against him. Now that he had received guidance from Jiang Chen, he seemed to have become a completely different person. He was no longer a match for him. What if Nye Xiaoying advanced to the 2nd heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm during the battle? In this Star Lord space, the strongest person was only at the 1st heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm. If a genius at the 2nd heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm appeared, it would be enough to change the entire situation. And all of this was caused by the war godlike young man in white. The winged people actually didn't know that such a terrifying person had appeared in the human race. This was simply a huge mistake. You killed my 9th brother. The 8th Gongzi felt the 9th Gongzi's aura from Jiang Chen, and immediately became furious. That's right, I killed your 9th Gongzi and all the winged people in the broken Filiu. However, I'm afraid you don't have the strength to take revenge. But I can help you with one thing, and that is to kill you so that you can reunite with your brother. Jiang Chen looked at the 8th Gongzi and said indifferently. He had already killed the 9th Gongzi, so he didn't care about killing another one. No, not just one. Jiang Chen didn't plan to let any of the winged people in the Star-Lord space go. Since the winged people had made such a big plot to kill the human race, Jiang Chen naturally wouldn't be polite. He would give them a taste of their own medicine. In the Crimson East region, There would be a life-and-death battle between the human race and the winged people sooner or later. Jiang Chen wasn't the only one who had the idea of killing all the winged people here. All the geniuses of the human race were thinking the same thing. They wouldn't forget the 8 doors maze formation, and they wouldn't forget the disciples who were ambushed by the winged people in the formation. They could imagine that if Jiang Chen hadn't come here and broken the 8 doors maze formation, there would only be one ending for them: annihilation. When the enemy deliberately wanted to kill you, there was no need to be polite. The only thing to do was to fight back. Fight back with your life. You're quite arrogant. I'd like to see how powerful you are. I'll kill you myself to avenge my 9th brother. As long as you're dead, all the disciples of the martial pavilion will be finished. The 8th young master was full of vigor and killing intent. He was ready to take action personally. He could already tell that he had to kill Jiang Chen in order to gain the upper hand in this battle. Regardless of whether it was to avenge his 9th brother, as long as he killed Jiang Chen, the belief of the human race would be destroyed. Even without the help of the 8 doors maze formation, the winged people would still win. More importantly, the 8 young masters had seen the true threat of Jiang Chen. If they didn't get rid of such a heaven-defying genius in the human race as soon as possible, he would become a great threat to the feather race. In other words, Jiang Chen was already a great threat. As the 8th young master of the winged people, he had 10,000 reasons to get rid of Jiang Chen. The strength that Jiang Chen had displayed was too powerful. The winged people at the 8th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin Realm were not his opponent at all. They couldn't even get close to him. In the entire winged people's camp, there were probably only 2 people who could kill Jiang Chen. One was himself, and the other was the leader of the winged people. However, the leader of the winged people already had a hard time dealing with Nie Xiaoying, let alone dealing with Jiang Chen. Nie Xiaoying would not allow the leader of the winged people to deal with Jiang Chen. Since that was the case, the difficult task of killing Jiang Chen fell on the shoulders of the 8th young master. The 8th young master let out a loud shout and unleashed a palm strike. A gigantic palm strike was launched towards Jiang Chen like a giant barrier. Master, be careful. The 8th young master of the winged people is not easy to deal with. Chapter 40. The corner of Jiang Chen's lips curled into a smile. The more powerful the 8th prince was, the more excited he was. If the 8th prince was just like Zhang Qing, it would be meaningless. Since the 8th prince wanted to kill him, Jiang Chen would give him a chance. He wanted to see if the 8th prince had the strength to do so. Jiang Chen's target was the 3 princes of the feather race who had entered the Star Lord's ruins this time. He wanted all of them dead. Jiang Chen's aura surged. He waved his hand and struck out with a true dragon palm. The violent dragon seal was not any weaker than the 8th prince's palm seal, be it in might or laughter. Rumble. The dragon seal and the palm seal collided with an unparalleled momentum, causing the entire battlefield to darken. Some people who were closer to the two were affected by the violent energy and were sent flying on the spot. The others quickly retreated, leaving a larger battlefield for Jiang Chen and the 8th prince. The battle between Jiang Chen and the 8th prince was not any weaker than the battle between Nie Xiaoying and the leader of the winged men. Although he was only at the Unity Origin Realm, he had the aura of the Earth Origin Realm. Dang dang. The energy waves surged. Under the impact of the violent energy, Jiang Chen couldn't help but take a few steps back. It had to be said that the 8th prince was truly powerful. He was not someone an ordinary 9th heavenly layer Unity Origin Realm expert could be compared to. Although Jiang Chen was at the 6th heavenly layer, his battle strength was still slightly weaker. According to the current situation, Jiang Chen would only be able to kill the 8th prince if he reached the 6th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin Realm or used the dragon transformation. Of course, this was not a problem for Jiang Chen. It might not be possible for him to reach the 6th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin Realm immediately, but using the dragon transformation was a piece of cake. What a powerful guy. He's only at the 5th heavenly layer of Unity Origin, yet he's able to take my palm strike head-on and emerge unscathed. Since when has such a deviant appeared among the humans? Fortunately, he's not my opponent. I have absolute confidence in killing him. The 8th master was shocked, but he did not become complacent just because he had gained the upper hand. He understood his own strength just too well, and he knew even better just how powerful the palm strike from before was. Let alone a 5th heavenly layer Unity Origin expert. Even an 8th heavenly layer Unity Origin expert would die on the spot. There would be no chance of survival at all. Even an ordinary 9th Heavenly Layer Unity Origin expert wouldn't be able to withstand his attack. However, Jiang Chen, a 5th Heavenly Layer Unity Origin expert, had only been pushed back. He hadn't even scratched a hair on his opponent's body. However, he was still quite relieved. No matter what, the other party was not a match for him. He still had enough strength to kill him. The 8th Master's victory in a single strike made the expressions of the disciples of the martial pavilion even uglier. Right now, Jiang Chen was a legend in their hearts. If the legend fell, their faith would be gone. It's over. Teacher is not the 8th Master's opponent. Don't worry. Teacher has many tricks up his sleeve. Let's continue watching. Do you still remember the Colosseum? It won't be easy to kill Teacher Jiang Chen. That's right. We have to have confidence in Teacher. Teacher has endless tricks up his sleeve. It's not something we can imagine at all. That was just a probing attack. Countless people were paying attention to Jiang Chen's situation. Whether it was the disciples of the Martial Pavilion or the disciples of the Feather Clan, there was no exception. Clearly, Jiang Chen had become the focus of the entire battlefield due to his previous performance. In the eyes of the Feather Clan, as long as they killed Jiang Chen, victory would still belong to them. However, in the eyes of the disciples of the Martial Pavilion, if Jiang Chen was killed, they would completely lose their backbone and their will to fight. Jiang Chen, you're finished. You're not a match for me at all. The 8th Master's aura was arrogant. The wings on his back were flapping constantly. The 7-colored spear in his hand was glowing brightly. After winning in a single strike, he was extremely confident in himself. Let's try. Jiang Chen smiled. From his face, one could not see the slightest bit of panic. Whoosh! The spear in the 8th Master's hand whistled like a poisonous dragon. In the blink of an eye, it was in front of Jiang Chen. 26 swords. Jiang Chen's sword aura rampaged. 26 swords were launched. His entire person disappeared and became one with the sword. Becoming one with the sword. Invincible swordsmanship. To countless disciples of the Martial Pavilion, this sword was a magnificent display. It was enough for them to comprehend in their lifetime. Even if they were given 8 lifetimes, they would not be able to comprehend it. Many disciples who cultivated in swordsmanship were dumbfounded when they saw this sword. Some of them had already seen Jiang Chen perform it in the beast fighting arena when he fought against the 3-eyed panther. Now that they saw it again, they were dumbfounded. They could not believe that there was such a magical swordsmanship in the world. Rumble. The Sky Dragon sword and the 8th Master's spear collided again. Endless waves of air began to ripple and the entire sky was covered by the sword aura. 26 swords was just too terrifying. With a cultivation of the 5th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm, Jiang Chen performed the 26 swords and blocked the 8th Master's spear. It seemed that they were on par. What? The 8th Master exclaimed. His eyes were about to bleed. Jiang Chen, what swordsmanship is that? The 8th Master could not help but be shocked. The sword attack from Jiang Chen was just too terrifying. It could only be described as world-shaking. The sword that will kill you. Jiang Chen's expression was indifferent. The sword in his hand emitted a chilling aura. Ha ha ha, kill me? Jiang Chen, you're too confident. I admit that you're powerful, but I'm afraid that you can't kill me. The 8th Master laughed as if he had heard the funniest joke. He naturally admitted that Jiang Chen was powerful, but he was still confident in his own strength. I'm done playing with you. Jiang Chen did not want to waste any more time. After all, the battle here had to end soon. He still had to help Li Long and Ji Tian. After all, the two teams did not have an expert like De Huang Dog to cast a defensive formation. Their losses would definitely be more severe than here. The roar of a dragon spread out. A primordial force was released from Jiang Chen's body. In the next moment, with the dragon transformation, Jiang Chen was like a real dragon that had descended from the heavens. His combat strength instantly increased by 10 times. What? Countless exclamations sounded out again. Everyone stared at Jiang Chen in shock. The sudden transformation and the eye-catching half-human half-dragon image had a great impact on everyone's vision. Damn it, what the hell is this? How can there be such a person in the human race? The 8th Master almost vomited blood. It was his first time seeing such a troublesome opponent. What a powerful chi of the real dragon. Is that a real dragon? Teacher is clearly a human. This should be a powerful transformation skill. Perhaps, he has the bloodline of a real dragon. Terrifying. This is too terrifying. His combat strength has skyrocketed. The 8th master is done for. Chapter 40-41. 8th young master. Hand over your life. Jiang Chen took a step forward and appeared in front of the 8th young master in the blink of an eye. With a wave of his hand, the terrifying true dragon palm rippled out once again. The terrifying dragon claw was like a huge barrier, pressing down on the 8th young master. Impossible. The 8th young master felt an unparalleled pressure, as if Mount Tai was pressing down on him. He could even feel the aura of death. This aura was so foreign to him, yet so real at the same time. Without any hesitation, the 8th young master immediately used his wings, turned around and ran. He was not a fool. He knew that if he did not run now, he would not have another chance. Jiang Chen's battle strength had increased by 10 times after his dragon transformation. He was no match for him at all. In the entire Yu clan, no one was a match for Jiang Chen other than the leader of the winged people, who was at the first heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm. In this state, Jiang Chen was invincible under the Earth Source realm. He was truly invincible. Trying to run now? It's too late. The speed of your Yu clan is nothing in front of me. Jiang Chen's cold voice was like the king of hell, pronouncing a death sentence on the 8th young master. Just when the 8th young master was about to run, Jiang Chen was even faster. The terrifying true dragon palm pressed down on him. Rumble. The giant palm pressed down like a mountain, causing the void to explode. Ah! A miserable shriek was heard. The terrifying palm smashed on the 8th young master's body. Feathers flew in the air, along with streams of blood. In the next moment, the 8th young master appeared in front of them. He was not dead yet, but he was not far from it. His body was covered in blood, and all his feathers had fallen off. Only his bloodied wings were barely supporting him from falling from the sky. Pretty tenacious. Jiang Chen snorted. The heavenly dragon's sword appeared above the 8th young master's head. The 8th young master would not be able to dodge this sword no matter what. Stop, don't kill our young master. The leader of the winged men, who was fighting against Nie Xiaoying, was horrified when he saw this. If the 8th young master was killed in front of him, he would be punished by the clan leader even if he could walk out of this place alive. The 8th prince was an important member of the Harpies. He could not die. Your opponent is me. Nie Xiaoying was in high spirits, and her startling sword technique was getting more and more powerful. How could she allow the leader of the feather people to deal with Jiang Chen? Now that the martial pavilion had the absolute upper hand, as long as Jiang Chen killed the 8 young masters, the entire feather race would be in chaos. When that happened, they would lose all will to fight, and that would be the time for them to win. How could Nie Xiaoying miss such a great opportunity? At this time, it all depended on her cooperation with Jiang Chen. Shua! The winged people team leader was unable to save their young master in time, and the pitiful 8th young master was cut in half by Jiang Chen's sword. His blood sprayed through the sky, and he could not be more dead. 8th young master. The winged people team leader's eyes were wide open, and he roared loudly. However, the more he did so, the more chaotic his mind became. Under Nie Xiaoying's powerful attack, he became even more inferior and pathetic. The 8th young master has been killed. The 8th young master is dead. What should we do? The disciples of the martial pavilion are too strong. Even the 8th young master is dead. We are doomed. We don't have the advantage in numbers either. These people from the martial pavilion are all like they are on steroids. They don't care about their lives. How are we going to fight them? The feather race was in chaos. They had completely lost their formation, and even their last bit of will to fight had disappeared. All the winged people had the intention to retreat. The 8th young master had been killed, and this was a huge blow to them. They had lost their backbone in an instant. This was the same with the martial pavilion. Although both parties had captains, the real backbone of the martial pavilion was Jiang Chen, and the real backbone of the feather race was the 8th young master, not the winged people team leader. This was determined by identity and status. Everyone, listen up. Retreat and regroup with the other 2 teams. The winged people team leader shouted loudly. He had no choice but to give the order to retreat. He could already tell that the feather race had lost their will to fight, while the martial pavilion was full of fighting spirit like ferocious tigers. Under such circumstances, The feather race would be wiped out sooner or later if they continued to fight. Putting aside the fact that he couldn't even deal with Nie Xiaoying, and the disciples of the martial pavilion were as ferocious as tigers, Jiang Chen, a monster in human form, was enough to wipe out most of the winged people. All in all, there was no way to fight this battle. Hearing the winged people team leader's order to retreat, the disciples of the winged people acted as if they had heard a special pardon. They immediately abandoned their opponents and turned to run. Although they couldn't win, it wasn't a problem to escape. The feather race was confident in this aspect. If they wanted to run, even if the disciples of the martial pavilion used 100 flight talismans, they wouldn't be able to catch up to them. Wahahaha, Birdman, you want to run now? It's over. I, Master Dog, have already set up the sky-concealing formation. None of you can escape. At this moment, a burst of wild laughter suddenly sounded. De Huang Dog, who hadn't appeared in the battle previously, suddenly appeared. Haha, awesome. Xie Ting laughed out loud. The moment he saw De Huang Dog, he knew that all the winged people here were finished. De Huang Dog was a true formation expert. Xie Ting had already experienced this before he entered the Chilling Mountain. I was wondering why I didn't see De Huang just now. It turns out that he's using the same trick again. This time, the winged people are finished. Zhang Qing said. That's right. Although the experts of the feather race can break the formation set up by De Huang, we won't give them the chance to do so. As long as the formation obstructs them slightly, we'll kill them all. Han Dong was also full of vigor. Almost at the moment they saw De Huang Dog, they had already predicted the outcome of the feather race. It was the same as when they dealt with a group of winged people previously. Damn it, it's that dog again. This place has been set up with a formation. We're trapped here. Everyone, attack with all your might and break the formation. The feather race was in a complete mess. Now that they couldn't even escape, all that was left was endless panic. Kill, don't give them the chance to break the formation. The disciples of the martial pavilion charged forward in a frenzy. At this moment, the disciples of the martial pavilion were extremely excited. At the very beginning, they were trapped by the feather race's big plot and fell into the 8 Gates maze formation. They had tasted the suffering of the formation. Now, the harpies felt like they had been trapped for a very long time, and they could feel true despair. Damn it, it's Master Dog's turn now. Chapter 40-42. Incomparably mournful cries filled the air. It was simply too miserable. The people of the Yu clan had already lost their will to fight. They only wanted to break the formation and escape, but there were too many people from the martial pavilion, and they were not given the chance. De Huang Dog was too terrifying. As he rampaged, there were corpses everywhere. Flesh, blood, and feathers flew everywhere. He was simply an ancient beast. De Huang Dog, who was at the peak of the 7th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm, was an invincible existence in such a large-scale battle. With a body of flesh and a head of iron, one would be injured, one would be killed, one could not escape, and one could not defeat. The doomsday of the Feather Clan was truly tragic. At this moment, in the hinterland of the Feather Clan on Rising Feather Mountain, the higher-ups of the Feather Clan were still complacent, even drinking. They had already predicted that the 8 Gates maze formation was invincible, at least in the Red East region. Unfortunately, they would never have thought that Jiang Chen and Big Yellow would appear in the martial pavilion. They were two old ancestors from another world, the originators of the formation world. Their existence was a nightmare for the feather race, a grievous piece of news. Ha ha ha, clan leader, I think at least 1/3 of the disciples of the martial pavilion have died, or even half. Clan leader's move is too brilliant. Those who entered the Star-Lord's ruins are all genius disciples of the Unity Origin realm. With their abilities, no one can break the 8 Gates maze formation. We have the advantage, and the disciples of the martial pavilion can only wait to be slaughtered. When the ruins open again in 3 days, there will be a good show. That's right. When the time comes, none of the disciples of the human race will come out. Wu Chongtian and the others will have no evidence to say that we set up a conspiracy. They can only blame the disciples of the martial pavilion for not being strong enough and destroying the hope of the younger generation of the human race. In less than 100 years, no 50 years at most, it will be the doomsday of the human race. At that time, the Feather Clan will completely inform the Red East region and become the absolute ruler of the Red East region. Just thinking about it makes me feel wonderful. After so many years, Our wish is finally going to come true. Unfortunately, this Star-Lord's remains are only a dilapidated existence. Apart from a space attached to Chilling Mountain, there are no other treasures inside. What a pity. No, it's a pity. Although there aren't any treasures inside, it has helped us a lot. Without the Star-Lord's ruins, how could our plan be realized? If our plan is successful, it would be more valuable than any treasures. The Yu clan's Heavenly Source Realm experts were still in a state of extreme excitement. The 8 Gates maze formation was laid by them together, so they were extremely confident because they could not think of any other accidents that could happen. According to their estimations, the ruins of the Star-Lord were already in chaos. Who knew how many people of the human race had died? Furthermore, in the next 2.5 days, all the disciples of the human race would be killed. Not a single one of them would be able to walk out alive. Unfortunately, the massacre that was happening in the Star-Lord's ruins was the exact opposite of what they had expected. Not only did the disciples of the Feather Clan not use the formation to trap the disciples of the Martial Pavilion, but they were trapped in the formation and were being massacred. Even the 8th young master, who was a leader, had perished on the spot. Screams could be heard continuously. The formation laid by De Huang Dog might not be indestructible. If the Feather Clan worked together, they could easily break it. Unfortunately, they had no chance to break the formation. Kill all these birdmen. The disciples of the Martial Pavilion were completely in a state of madness. Every one of them was full of fighting spirit and murderous intent. Every one of them waved the weapons in their hands and killed the people of the Feather Clan in a frenzy. The most important thing in a war was momentum and morale. The disciples of the Martial Pavilion were originally at a disadvantage. Even without the 8 Gates maze formation, the human race at the Unity Origin Realm did not have the slightest advantage against the Feather Clan. However, this disadvantage was completely reversed by Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog. Under the leadership of the two of them, the morale of the disciples of the Martial Pavilion could not be lower. Under the fierce leadership of Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog, the remaining disciples of the Feather Clan did not have much power to resist. In just an hour, all the Feather Clan, except for the leader of the Feather Clan, had died tragically. Not a single one of them was left alive. Excited, too excited. All the disciples of the Martial Pavilion were in a frenzy. They felt that the blood in their bodies had been boiling. At this moment, it was completely boiling. In the Red East region, the human race and the Feather Clan had been fighting for countless years. Among them, the most intense battle was between the Feather Clan and the Martial Pavilion. All along, the disciples of the Martial Pavilion had never experienced such a great victory. This was a complete victory. The Feather Clan was completely annihilated. Such a scene was something that countless disciples of the Martial Pavilion had never dreamed of. At this moment, in the eyes of all the disciples of the Martial Pavilion, Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog were already in human existences. They were true gods that could do anything. Even if the peak earthly source experts of the Martial Pavilion were here, they would not be able to deal with the situation today. Just the 8 Gates maze formation alone, the only person in the entire Martial Pavilion who had the ability to break this formation was probably the Pavilion Master of the Everlasting Pavilion, Zhan Yang, and it was only a possibility. However, it was impossible for a heavenly source expert like Zhan Yang to participate in this kind of training. Apart from Zhan Yang, no one in the Everlasting Pavilion could break the 8 Gates maze formation that was jointly set up by a dozen heavenly source experts. In other words, without the existence of Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog, the Martial Pavilion would definitely be destroyed. It's over. It's completely over. The long-term plan of our Feather Clan has been destroyed in a day. In less than 50 years, the Feather Clan will be destroyed. With Jiang Chen here, we won't even need 50 years. We won't even need 10 years. The leader of the winged people looked up at the sky and let out a long sigh. Under Nie Xiaoying's crazy attacks, he had suffered many injuries. Coupled with the despair that had already surfaced in his heart, he basically had no will to fight anymore. Now that the 8 young masters had been killed, along with the entire team of hundreds of Feather Clan geniuses, even if he was an earthly source expert, it would be difficult for him to survive under such circumstances. Jiang Chen would not give him a chance. A desolate feeling emerged in the heart of the leader of the winged people. This was originally a huge plot against the human clan, with the aim of cutting off the future of the human clan. However, he did not expect to go for wool and come home shorn. In the end, the ones who would be destroyed would be the Feather Clan. The Feather Clan had dug a pit for themselves to jump into. This was a grave that they had dug for themselves. Teacher Jiang Chen, bring some people to assist Ji Tian and Li Long. Leave this person to me. I will definitely deal with him. Chapter 40-43. All right. Jiang Chen nodded. He had a lot of trust in Nie Xiaoying. After receiving his guidance, Nie Xiaoying's startling sword art had become more and more skillful. Given the current state of the wingman captain, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to hold on for long under Nie Xiaoying's powerful attacks. This battle was extremely important to Nie Xiaoying. She was currently in a state where she was about to break through. After killing the winged clan leader, her cultivation might break through directly. Once Nie Xiaoying broke through to the second heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm, it would be the doomsday for the disciples of the Feather Clan. In fact, even if Nie Xiaoying did not break through to the second heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm, it would still be the doomsday for the Feather Clan. De Huang Dog grabbed at the void with his paw and tore a hole in the defensive formation. All the disciples of the martial pavilion left the place at an unparalleled speed, leaving Nie Xiaoying and the winged clan leader alone. Jiang Chen flapped his dragon wings and flew at the front of the team. He was now the absolute ruler of the entire martial pavilion. All the disciples of the martial pavilion did not dare to defy Jiang Chen. Without Nie Xiaoying, experts of the ninth heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm like Zhang Qing were all obedient to Jiang Chen. Not to mention that Jiang Chen's ability was enough for them to call him teacher. Just Jiang Chen's strength alone was enough for them to worship him. There were probably only 1 or 2 experts of the ninth heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm in the entire martial pavilion who could kill the 8 young masters of the Feather Clan. More importantly, the disciples of the martial pavilion were now following behind Jiang Chen. Every one of them felt like they were gods of war, invincible and invincible. Killing the Feather Clan was too satisfying. They had never felt so happy when fighting against the Feather Clan. On Li Long's side, the situation was not very good, but this was also expected. Although the 8 Gates maze formation had been broken, they had already suffered huge losses before the formation was broken. This was because without the help of the defensive formation, this large team had lost at least 100 disciples. In addition to the fact that they did not have the upper hand in the battle against the Feather Race, the martial pavilion had already lost more than 300 disciples since the start of the battle. Although the remaining disciples were still relatively ferocious, their morale had already fallen, and they were at a disadvantage for the entire day. Li Long and Zhao Chenkuan, the 6th young master, were fighting fiercely. The 2 of them were enemies, and it was hard to tell who would win. In fact, Li Long had already begun to fall into a disadvantageous position. After all, he had to pay attention to the losses on the martial pavilion side, and it was inevitable that he would be distracted. This was a real massacre. The battlefield here was much more brutal than the one where Jiang Chen and the others were. The disciples of the martial pavilion here did not have the same imposing manner as Jiang Chen and the others. However, this momentum was about to be reversed. The people who were in the midst of the fierce battle suddenly saw an overwhelming number of people flying towards them. Look, someone is coming over there. They're from the martial pavilion. They're from our martial pavilion. They're from Senior Sister Nie's team. Why are they here? He must be here to help us. When the disciples of the martial pavilion here saw a large group of fellow disciples running over, they were all excited and surprised. They were excited because they had helpers, a large number of helpers. However, they were surprised because they were supposed to be in the same situation as them. How could they get rid of the siege of the Feather Race and run here? However, these were not important. The important thing was that they had come, because the situation here was about to collapse. De Huang, you stay here to help, and the others follow me, Jiang Chen said. Now, in order to minimize the loss of the martial pavilion, they had to split up, because the battle here seemed to be more troublesome than what they had encountered before. If they waited until the battle here was over and then went to the other side, the loss on Ji Tian's side would be immeasurable. Okay. De Huang Dog shook his big head. His body was taller than a small hill. With De Huang Dog here, Jiang Chen was relieved. De Huang Dog's destructive power alone could defeat thousands of troops. More importantly, Jiang Chen did not intend to let a single Feather Race go. De Huang could quietly set up a big formation to trap all the Feather Race here. With the help of hundreds of disciples with great momentum, the morale of the disciples of the martial pavilion was bound to be reversed, and the situation was quickly reversed. All Feather Race, listen up. Our senior brother Jiang Chen has broken your 8 Gates maze formation. Your 8 young masters have died under the sword of senior brother Jiang Chen. The hundreds of feather race have all been killed by us. Your doomsday has arrived. Xueqi stood beside De Huang Dog and shouted towards the battlefield. He was full of momentum. His voice was like thunder, rolling and resonating in the hearts of everyone on the battlefield. What? This is impossible. This is absolutely impossible. The 8 young masters are dead. The team of hundreds of people are all killed. How is this possible? How did they do it? Why do they have the ability to break the 8 gates maze formation? What the hell is Jiang Chen doing? It seems to be true. Otherwise, why would the disciples of the martial pavilion come here? This is too scary. In just an instant, the feather race, whose morale was originally high, was completely in chaos. They had no idea what to do. Xueqing's words were undoubtedly like thunder to them. It was simply unimaginable. On the other hand, the disciples of the martial pavilion began to shout. Ha ha ha, senior brother Jiang Chen is really awesome. I was wondering who broke the formation of the bird race. So it was senior brother Jiang Chen who did it. Senior brother Jiang Chen is really amazing. He broke the formation, killed the 8 young masters, and annihilated a team of the feather race. If it wasn't from senior brother Xueqi, I wouldn't have believed it. Kill. Brothers, it's time for our counterattack. Our helpers are here to avenge our fallen brothers. The morale of the martial pavilion was completely mobilized by Xueqi in just an instant. Roar. The next moment, De Huang Dog roared to the sky and rushed into the enemy's camp. Screams filled the air. Just one collision had killed at least 5 or 6 disciples of the feather race. This scene was so shocking that the disciples of the martial pavilion could not help but be excited. While De Huang Dog was charging and killing the enemies, he secretly set up a formation and circled around the entire sky. Ha ha ha, Zhao Chenkuan, your feather race is finished. Li Long suddenly laughed. He never dreamed that the martial pavilion would have a chance to turn things around, and a great one at that. He did not know what had happened to Nie Xiaoying, but he could imagine it. In his heart, he had begun to worship Jiang Chen infinitely. Damn, how could this be? Chapter 40-44. Zhao Chenkuan, you didn't expect it, did you? Our martial pavilion has a genius who is invincible. The sky concealing formation set up by your feather clan has been completely broken by us. You've shot yourself in the foot. Just wait for your doom. Li Long's whole person changed. He changed from his previous state of defense to a crazy attack. Zhao Chenkuan, who was in a mess, was in a completely different state. Mentality and momentum were especially important in a fight between evenly matched experts. Shrill screams began to be heard. The disciples of the martial pavilion who came with De Huang Dog were all more ferocious than the last. They all regarded themselves as unparalleled gods of war, killing the Feather Clan's disciples without any resistance. Moreover, with the assistance of an ancient beast like De Huang Dog, how could the disciples of the Feather Clan bear it? The number of disciples of the martial pavilion was almost double that of the Feather Clan. Moreover, they were all more ferocious than the last. If this battle continued, there would only be one result. All the Feather Clan would die tragically, just like before. It had to be said that Xueqi was very good at inspiring people's morale. With just a few words, he completely reversed the situation and allowed the martial pavilion to launch an ultimate counterattack. Although Jiang Chen was not here, the situation here was basically stable with De Huang Dog. On the other side, Ji Tian's team was even more miserable. The disciples of the martial pavilion were completely suppressed. If it were not for the fact that there were more disciples of the martial pavilion at the beginning, they would have been defeated long ago. However, if this trend continued, the disciples of the martial pavilion would face destruction almost inevitably. Even if they wanted to escape, it was basically impossible. The Feather Clan had a natural advantage in speed. God wants the human race to die. The disciples of the martial pavilion were heartbroken. A disciple was pierced through the chest by a Feather Clan spear, and his eyes were full of unwillingness before he died. The state of mind of all the disciples of the martial pavilion was changing dramatically. Before coming in, it was supposed to be an opportunity. Everyone dreamed of a big opportunity, but the reality was so cruel. Ji Tian waved the broadsword in his hand, fighting with the leader of the Feather Clan. However, Ji Tian was obviously at a disadvantage. There were many wounds on his body, and he was spurting blood wildly. If this continued, he would be killed sooner or later. The seventh prince of the feather race was at the peak of the ninth heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm. He dominated the battlefield and had already killed 2 ninth heavenly layer Unity Origin realm disciples of the martial pavilion. They were forced to retreat step by step. There was nowhere to retreat and nowhere to escape. This was a hopeless situation. It was a true hopeless situation that the disciples of the martial pavilion had to face. It was unprecedented. Just when everyone thought that this hopeless situation could not be changed, a miracle happened. Huff huff. A strong wind blew as a strong murderous aura surged toward them from afar, immediately attracting the attention of everyone on the battlefield. Look, it's one of us. Isn't that Jiang Chen? How can he fly? I remember that Jiang Chen is in the same team as senior sister Nya. Why are they here? I don't know what happened, but our help is here. Just like the martial pavilion disciples from Li Long's team, the martial pavilion disciples on this side were instantly excited. No matter what happened, nothing could make them more excited than seeing the martial pavilion disciples at this moment. What's going on? Where did so many martial pavilion disciples come from? The seventh young master frowned. A bad feeling began to spread in his heart. Very soon, Jiang Chen arrived at the edge of the battlefield with the hot-blooded martial pavilion disciples. Zhang Qing's aura was like a rainbow. He took a step forward and imitated Xie Ting's tone from before. He yelled, "The 8th young master is dead, and the entire team of the feather race has been annihilated. Our senior Jiang Chen has destroyed the 8 gates maze formation of the feather race and killed the 8th young master. Birdman, your end is here. Hurry up and surrender." With that, there was an uproar. Whether it was the feather people or the disciples of the martial pavilion, they all became restless. In just a moment, Jiang Chen had become the focus of everyone's attention. Holy shit, that's awesome. Senior Jiang Chen is actually so powerful. So he was the one who destroyed the 8 gates maze formation. I was wondering why the formation suddenly disappeared. I think Jiang Chen's current cultivation should only be at the peak of the 5th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm. With such a cultivation, he was actually able to kill the 8th young master who was at the 9th heavenly layer of the feather race. This is admirable. This person's potential is just too great. I saw him kill the 3-eyed panther earlier. He was extremely brave. Jiang Chen had already become a legend in the martial pavilion, especially after this incident. Who's Jiang Chen? The 7th young master stood out, furious. Me. Jiang Chen flapped his dragon wings as he smiled faintly. You killed my 8th brother. The 7th young master's face was filled with killing intent. Not just that. I killed the 9th young master as well. You can go down and accompany your brother. Jiang Chen said indifferently. Meeting here had already sentenced this arrogant 7th young master to death. Jiang Chen was very interested in killing these young masters of the feather race. Bastard. I'm going to avenge my brother today. I'd like to see how strong a 5th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm like you can be. I'd also like to see how you're going to break the 8 gates maze formation. The 7th young master was currently in a berserk state. He hated Jiang Chen to the core. Putting aside the fact that Jiang Chen had killed 2 of his brothers, if it weren't for Jiang Chen, the feather race's grand plan wouldn't have gone down the drain. The 7th young master was filled with killing intent as he charged towards Jiang Chen in a frenzy. Zhang Qing and the others had smiles on their faces as if they already knew the outcome. They had personally witnessed the battle prowess of Jiang Chen's dragon transformation. The 8th young master, who was at the 9th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm, couldn't even take a single move from Jiang Chen. The 7th young master's cultivation base was the same as the 8th young master's, and he couldn't be much stronger than the 8th young master. Fighting Jiang Chen would only result in death. There was no way he could survive. Boom. A violent force suddenly erupted from Jiang Chen's body as the dragon transformation emerged. A terrifying chi wave rippled out. Jiang Chen's battle prowess instantly increased. Jiang Chen didn't want to waste time with the 7th young master. He wanted to kill the 7th young master with lightning speed to build up the morale of the disciples of the martial pavilion. What? The 7th young master, who was initially brimming with vigor, instantly felt the terrifying pressure from Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen didn't care about this. The true dragon palm pressed down on the 7th young master's body. Arg! The 7th young master let out a miserable shriek. He couldn't resist it at all. The power was too strong. With just a single palm, the 7th young master was killed on the spot. He didn't even give Jiang Chen a chance to strike again. For a moment, the entire battlefield fell silent. Countless people stared at the mighty and domineering Jiang Chen in a daze as if they had seen a ghost. How could there be such a domineering person who could kill the seventh young master in a second? Chapter 40-45. Strong, super strong, really too strong. At this moment, all the disciples of the martial pavilion were in awe of Jiang Chen. Even Zhang Qing and the others, who had seen Jiang Chen kill the eighth young master, were still overwhelmed with emotions when they saw Jiang Chen kill the seventh young master. Such a scene had indeed boosted the morale of the disciples. In just an instant, the disciples of the martial pavilion, who were previously completely dispirited, had become full of vigor and vigor. Their silent battle blood had also begun to boil at this moment. Bastard! The leader of the winged clan was furious. The seventh young master was killed in front of him. Even if he could get out of here alive, he would be punished. All the people of the Feather Clan at this moment had an extremely ugly expression on their faces. The situation had turned around too quickly. The surging excitement just now was instantly smashed to the bottom. The death of the seventh young master had caused an irreversible blow to the morale of the Feather Clan. Jiang Chen, Jiang Chen, Jiang Chen. Someone in the crowd shouted. For a moment, the entire battlefield was filled with the shouting of Jiang Chen's name. It was earth-shattering and shook the heavens. The sound was like rolling thunder. The morale of the disciples of the martial pavilion had become unprecedentedly high. Kill. Leave no one alive. Jiang Chen returned to his human form and raised the sky dragon sword high. He waved his arm and shouted, his voice like thunder. At this moment, Jiang Chen was the master of this battlefield. He was the only one on this battlefield. He was the invincible god of war. His words could ignite the fighting blood in the hearts of countless disciples of the martial pavilion. Kill! In the next moment, the disciples of the martial pavilion began to counterattack in a frenzy. Their previous state was completely different. Each of their eyes were bloodshot, and their killing intent soared to the sky. They were too depressed and aggrieved from the previous battle. Now, they wanted to release all of their previous grievances. They wanted to use the blood of the winged men to wash away their humiliation. They wanted to use the blood of the winged men to avenge their fallen brothers and sisters. Screams filled the sky. The life and death battlefield was instantly boiling again. However, this time, the ones who had the upper hand were no longer the winged humans, but the people from the martial pavilion. This large group of disciples from the martial pavilion, after receiving the help of Jiang Chen and the rest, was like a tiger that had grown wings, and they were extremely ferocious. As for the people that Jiang Chen had brought, most of them had received pointers from Jiang Chen. Each and every one of them was eager to break through in battle. They were now very confident in their own strength. They were completely following Jiang Chen's pointers and constantly improving. It could be said that they were constantly improving. Jiang Chen stood in the sky above the battlefield, flapping his dragon wings like a controller. Jiang Chen looked at the battlefield. This battle was basically settled, and the martial pavilion would definitely obtain the final victory. However, what Jiang Chen wanted was not just a simple victory. The victory he wanted was the big conspiracy that the winged race had against the human race. As the saying went, a taste of their own medicine. Whatever the winged race wanted to do to the human race would have to do the same to the winged race. Moreover, Jiang Chen was very clear that in the Red East region, the human race and the winged race would have a life and death battle sooner or later. Of these two major races, one would definitely be destroyed. Therefore, what Jiang Chen wanted to do now was to make all the geniuses of the winged race stay here, so that none of the people who entered the Star-Lord's ruins would be able to leave. He wanted to make the leader of the winged race regret doing this. Because there were many disciples from the martial pavilion, there were no winged humans who had the opportunity to fight against Jiang Chen. Moreover, Jiang Chen had even killed the seventh young master in a second. Ordinary winged humans would be sending themselves to their deaths if they came. In the entire winged race, only the leader of the winged humans could fight against Jiang Chen. However, Ji Tian was not someone to be trifled with. How could he give him the chance to fight against Jiang Chen? Ji Tian was not a fool. He could naturally see that Jiang Chen had completely become the backbone of the human race. With Jiang Chen around, the morale of the martial pavilion would only get stronger and stronger. Jiang Chen was relaxed, but he was not idle either. He repeated his old tricks and began to set up layers of restrictions in the sky above the entire battlefield. He set up a huge trapping formation to trap all the winged humans here, not giving them a chance to escape. Escape had always been the strength of the winged race. If hundreds of winged humans wanted to escape, the Martial Pavilion would not be able to stop them no matter how big the formation was. Their speed was too fast. Therefore, at this time the formation played its most crucial role. It was not to completely trap them here, but only to prevent them from escaping. Jiang Chen was proficient in the no-beginning formation. 108,000 formations that could evolve endlessly. Any formation in the world was at his fingertips. His attainments in formations far surpassed that of De Huang Daoge. To put it bluntly, if Jiang Chen were to personally set up the formation, it would be the end of the world for the winged race. A true doomsday. All the winged humans were immersed in the battle, and had no time to pay attention to anything else. They did not know that their fates were undergoing a huge change. Jiang Chen was silently cutting off all their escape routes. Jiang Chen scanned the battlefield as he set up the formation. Finally, his gaze landed on Ji Tian. At this moment, Ji Tian was being suppressed by the leader of the winged humans. It was obvious that he was losing. Ji Tian was wielding an oversized hammer in his hand. It was extremely sharp, sometimes to the left and sometimes to the right. However, after watching it, Jiang Chen could not help but shake his head. Ji Tian, your hammering technique is too complicated. There should be 5 forms in your hammering technique, but you haven't mastered the essence of it. Why don't you focus on one type of hammering technique and combine them into one? Focus on one and use the thunderclap hammer technique. Jiang Chen said like a teacher guiding his disciple. Hearing this, Ji Tian, who was in the middle of the battle, was stunned. He looked at Jiang Chen in disbelief. Ji Tian was too shocked. Jiang Chen could see the essence of his hammering technique with a single glance. He could even tell that there was a total of 5 forms in his hammering technique and give the most precise guidance. This was too ridiculous. Senior brother Ji Tian, teacher Jiang Chen has already guided us. After receiving his guidance, our strength has been improving. Senior sister Nie's cultivation is about to break through to the 2nd heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm. Zhang Qing said. In fact, there was no need for Zhang Qing to remind him. Ji Tian was not stupid. Jiang Chen's words had already made him feel enlightened. Thank you for your guidance. Ji Tian shouted at Jiang Chen before shouting, Thunderclap hammer. Who? The hammer smashed down like a mountain. This time, Ji Tian followed Jiang Chen's instructions and concentrated his strength. The hammer actually released a thunderous sound. The hammering technique that Ji Tian was using was the thunderclap hammer technique. However, after so many years of cultivation, Ji Tian had never produced a thunderous sound. After receiving guidance from Jiang Chen, the thunderous sound immediately appeared. Chapter 40-46. Ha ha ha, Ji Tian laughed wildly. After fighting for so long, he had never felt so carefree. Looking at the dazzling warhammer in his hand and the flickering lightning, Ji Tian had a feeling that he was about to make a breakthrough. When he looked at Jiang Chen again, Ji Tian's gaze had completely changed. He was simply an extraordinary person who could do anything. Thank you, teacher, for your guidance. Ji Tian cupped his fists at Jiang Chen. Just those few words of guidance were enough for Ji Tian to respectfully call him teacher, just like Xie Ting in the Qingyuan Thunderpool. That's impossible. Who are you? Reincarnation of an almighty? The leader of the feathered squad was shocked and said while gritting his teeth. After fighting with Ji Tian for so long, he already knew Ji Tian's moves like the back of his hand. His strength was definitely above Ji Tian's, but after this Jiang Chen came, Ji Tian became a completely different person with just a few words, and the war hammer in his hand became extremely fierce. What the fuck? Is senior brother Jiang Chen really that amazing? Just a few words of guidance and he actually made senior brother Ji Tian so powerful that he immediately turned the situation around. Yeah, this is too magical. I wonder if he can give us some guidance. He is even more powerful than the elders of our martial pavilion. The disciples who followed Ji Tian were all shocked. Of course, teacher is almighty. I won't hide it from you guys. It is because we have received teacher's guidance that we have improved and our combat strength has soared. That is why we have eliminated the entire feathered squad in such a short period of time. That's right, if you guys can receive teacher's guidance, you will definitely be the same as us. I am confident that after this battle with the feathered squad, My cultivation will immediately improve. Teacher is a divine person. I guess that teacher might really be the reincarnation of an almighty. Otherwise, he would not be so proficient in so many things. Alchemy, setting up formations, breaking formations. He is omnipotent. Previously, he even had a lesson in our everlasting pavilion. Even our great elder had to call him teacher. The disciples who had been taught by Jiang Chen all had proud expressions on their faces as they started to brag. Of course, they weren't bragging. What they said was the truth. The truth had indeed allowed them to improve. A huge improvement. Teacher, could you give me some pointers? Teacher, please guide me. Brothers, let's fight against these birdmen. Let's use everything we've learned and let our teachers guide us. The disciples of the martial pavilion were in an uproar once again. Each and every one of them was shouting loudly, especially those disciples who had not been guided by Jiang Chen. Each one of them was more excited than the other. They had witnessed Jiang Chen's capabilities with their own eyes. Even Ji Tian had called him teacher, let alone them. Moreover, the disciples who had just arrived had all received pointers from Jiang Chen. They had also clearly seen the battle just now. Those who had received pointers from Jiang Chen were indeed much more brilliant than before. There were many people here who lived together on a daily basis. Some of them were even friends or brothers. They understood each other quite well. Whether or not each other's strength had improved, they were naturally very clear. No one was willing to miss such an opportunity to improve themselves. Jiang Chen had a sharp eye for pointers in battle. No one was willing to miss such a great opportunity. The path of cultivation itself was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. In the process of cultivation, everyone would encounter all kinds of problems. In this process, if there was an expert to guide them, they would be able to avoid many detours. Kill! The roars were endless. The disciples of the martial pavilion had completely erupted. Each and every one of them was unprecedentedly hot-blooded. Jiang Chen did not disappoint them. He stood high up in the sky and waved his hand to point out the situation. His powerful soul power spread out. Almost every move of the disciples of the martial pavilion on the battlefield was within the scope of Jiang Chen's control. Jiang Chen pointed them out one by one. Everyone's weaknesses were all pointed out in one go, and his pointers were straight to the point. More importantly, every disciple who had received pointers from Jiang Chen was abnormally excited. This kind of pointers were really on point. It was completely enlightening and enlightening. The battlefield was burning. The Feather Clan was beaten back again and again. They were completely outmatched. On the battlefield, there were flying feathers and flesh and blood everywhere. Such a battlefield was completely a war. In this place, death pervaded everywhere. This was the real Azura hell. There was only real killing here. It was either you die or I live. For the disciples of the martial pavilion, this battle was extremely important. To put it bluntly, those who participated in this battle and walked out alive would have great achievements in the future. Only a life and death experience could truly test a person and truly improve a person. Shrill screams filled the air. The Feather Clan was killed without any trace of anger. Their previous arrogance was completely suppressed. The disciples of the martial pavilion were like hungry tigers, crazily plundering their prey. On the other side, the greatest hope of the Feather Clan was also being suppressed by Ji Tian. The rushing thunder hammer technique was getting stronger and stronger. Ji Tian's attacks were getting smoother and smoother. The leader of the Feather Clan had already been beaten to the point where the spear in his hand had already been shattered. Leader, we can't fight anymore. Let's retreat. A ninth Heaven Feather Clan member of the Unity Origin Realm who was covered in blood shouted, "Retreat! Retreat! Retreat quickly!" The leader of the Winged Men clan shouted in an extremely unwilling voice. He was indeed unwilling. This was originally a huge conspiracy set up by the Winged Men clan, and it was specifically targeted at the disciples of the martial pavilion. However, the situation in front of him was completely different from what he had expected. Retreat? I'm afraid it's too late to retreat now. Jiang Chen's voice sounded again. It was like the voice of the god of death, pronouncing judgment on the Feather Clan. What did you say? The leader of the Feather Clan looked at Jiang Chen and shouted, I've already set up a sky-concealing formation here. None of you will be able to escape today. Jiang Chen said, Impossible. The leader of the Feather Clan was shocked, but his expression had already begun to panic. The sky-concealing formation. If this was said by someone else, he would definitely treat it as a joke. However, this Jiang Chen was too mystical. When he was guiding the disciples of the martial pavilion, he had heard it clearly. Even if he was an enemy, he had to worship Jiang Chen as a god. You'll know once you try. The Feather Clan wants to use the formation to destroy the future of the human clan. We can do it too. I'll let the Feather Clan know what it means to shoot yourself in the foot. Jiang Chen's aura was incomparably strong. He was like a supreme being who could make the enemy tremble and raise the morale of the entire human clan just by standing there. There's really a formation. Some of the Feather Clan members tried but couldn't break through the formless formation. Chapter 40-47. For the Feather Race, when escaping had become an extravagant hope, that was the true despair. At this moment, everyone's heart was in a state of panic. The martial pavilion was too powerful. For the Feather Race, death had already begun to envelop them. It's over. It's completely over. Damn it. When did the martial pavilion have such a freak? Is he really proficient in everything? We're going to be trapped to death. The disciples of the Feather Clan were in complete despair. They had no fighting spirit at all. If they continued to fight, they would only be met with death. Brothers, what are you waiting for? The Birdmen have nowhere to escape. Kill them all. Ji Tian shouted and took the lead to attack the leader of the Feather Clan again. They were very confident in Jiang Chen's formation. A person who could break the 8 doors maze formation with his own strength could easily set up a trapping formation. Moreover, they would not give the Feather Clan any chance to break the formation. Otherwise, Jiang Chen would not need them as his teammates. Kill. The disciples of the martial pavilion swarmed up again. With such a huge disparity in strength and numbers, the Feather Clan had no chance at all. As for the disciples of the martial pavilion, they wouldn't show the slightest bit of mercy. This was because they knew very well how the Feather Race had treated them previously, especially when they were trapped in the 8 gates maze formation. They were their prey. Now that they had a chance to turn things around, the disciples of the martial pavilion would not be polite. Moreover, they had to avenge the death of hundreds of disciples of the martial pavilion. A blood feud could only be washed away with the blood of the enemy. Killing. A hellish killing. The battle was very crazy. It was the same here and on Li Long's side. They had an overwhelming advantage. De Huang Dog also set up the concealing formation, leaving no way for the Feather Clan to survive. The battle lasted for 2 hours. Not a single feather managed to escape, and all of them were killed. Until now, Zhao Qianquan was still fighting with the Feather Clan. Nie Xiaoying had already killed the leader of the Feather Clan and was about to break through to the second heaven of the Earth Source realm. The disciples of the martial pavilion had achieved an unprecedented victory. Every single one of them had a glorious glow on their faces. They had never participated in such a large-scale battle in their entire lives. This was something that they did not even dare to dream about. De Huang Dog and Nie Xiaoying came to Jiang Chen's side at the same time. They glanced at the Winged People captain, who was still struggling, and smiled knowingly. The Winged People captain was a general without an army. It was only a matter of time before Ji Tian killed him. Teacher, I've already killed my opponent. It's all thanks to your guidance that we were able to achieve such a great victory. Nie Xiaoying said as she looked at Jiang Chen's handsome face. She couldn't help but be infatuated with him. Yes, not bad. Your cultivation is already infinitely close to the second heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm. You'll be able to break through after this. Jiang Chen smiled at Nie Xiaoying. There were still many geniuses in the martial pavilion. Little Chenzi, there are treasures in the Star-Lord dimension. De Huang Dog's voice suddenly came to Jiang Chen's ears. Jiang Chen's eyes flickered, and a trace of joy emerged in the depths of his eyes. De Huang Dog had an extraordinary sense of finding treasures. This ability was unique. Since De Huang Dog said there were treasures, it must be true. Jiang Chen was very interested in the treasures left by a Star-Lord. In fact, since entering the Eternal World, Jiang Chen had never obtained any useful trump cards or treasures. The treasures left by a Star-Lord would certainly not be bad. How about Li Long? Jiang Chen asked. They've all been killed. Only the 6th young master is struggling. De Huang Dog said. Can Li Long handle it? Jiang Chen said. Teacher, don't worry. Li Long and Zhao Qianquan are sworn enemies. I'm afraid he doesn't want others to help him. Anyway, we have the upper hand now, and Zhao Qiankuan can't escape. Let Li Long solve the grievances with Zhao Qiankuan for many years. Nie Xiaoying said. Okay. Jiang Chen nodded. This result was also what he wanted to see. Geniuses like Li Long and Ji Tian were proud in their bones. This was also a great opportunity for them. If they could kill their opponents by themselves, it would be a good growth for them. Nie Xiaoying, I'll leave the situation here to you. I'll go to the Star Lord's relics. Jiang Chen said. Jiang Chen didn't care about the winged man captain who was fighting with Ji Tian at all. Not to mention that this guy couldn't even deal with Ji Tian. He was already like a crossbow, struggling to hold on. Nie Xiaoying alone wouldn't give the winged man captain a chance to escape. Teacher, don't worry. When the Star Lord's relics open again, I promise I won't let a winged man go out. Nie Xiaoying's momentum shook. She had a kind of domineering spirit that was not inferior to men. De Huang, let's go. Jiang Chen said. With a flap of his dragon wings, he left the battlefield with De Huang Dog. The war with the winged men was basically over. Zhao Qiankuan, the winged man captain, was the only one left. It was meaningless for Jiang Chen to continue to stay here. He could take this opportunity to find treasures with De Huang Dog. Teacher, what are they doing? I don't know. They should go to the Star Lord's relics. However, we don't need to ask what teacher is going to do. We don't need to worry about his ability. This time, our martial pavilion could win a complete victory all because of teacher and that dog. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Yes, the winged men are so treacherous. They used this kind of conspiracy to deal with us. It seems that the real war between us and the winged men will not be far away. Why do you think teacher is so powerful? His combat strength is terrifying, his alchemy skills are superb, and his formation is unparalleled in the world. It's really shocking. I guess he must be the reincarnation of a powerful person. Otherwise, he can't be so powerful. Stop guessing. Anyway, in my opinion, it's our human race's luck to have a person like teacher. In the future, whether we can win the war with the winged men and become the real master of the Red East territory, teacher will definitely play a vital role. This battle had completely established Jiang Chen's prestige. From now on, he would become the teacher of the whole martial pavilion in a real sense. Everyone in the martial pavilion would probably regard him as the center. Don't speculate about teacher. It's a great disrespect to teacher. Do you understand? Nie Xiaoying turned around and scolded. Yes. Senior sister Nie. We know we're wrong. Teacher has helped us so much. He's our savior. This is a great favor. From now on, teacher will be the person I respect the most. Chapter 40-48. Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog left. One man and one dog. They headed towards the deeper regions of the Star Lord's ruins. De Huang, did you really feel that there's any treasure here? This Star Lord's ruins are obviously an empty shell that was discovered by the Feather Clan. Furthermore, their heavenly source experts have already entered this place. Even if there were treasures inside, they would have long been looted by the Feather Clan. Don't tell me that there are still some superior treasures left for us? Jiang Chen said that he had always been inferior to De Huang Dog in terms of finding treasures. He admired De Huang Dog very much for this point. You probably don't know about this. From what I can see, this Star Lord space is built on the Chilling Mountain. It's originally an empty shell, but it's not an empty shell either. That's because the Star Lord who built this space is pretty awesome. Even if the Feather Clan's heavenly source experts have entered this place, they wouldn't have the ability to find the true treasures here. De Huang Dog said in an incomparably arrogant manner. So you're saying that there really are treasures here? Jiang Chen's eyes lit up once again. It seemed that this trip to the Star Lord space wasn't in vain. Of course. Listen to my instructions. De Huang Dog shook his head. The light wings on his back flapped and he moved at an incomparably fast speed. This Star Lord space wasn't small. In fact, a Star Lord didn't have the ability to create such a large space. The reason why this space was so large was because of the topography of the Chilling Mountain. Without the Chilling Mountain, this space would most likely be extremely thin. Under De Huang Dog's lead, they searched for half a day before finally stopping in a valley. The desolate valley was too desolate. There was nothing here. In fact, there was nothing in the entire Star Lord space. Just as Jiang Chen had predicted, this place was an empty shell. However, When they arrived at the top of the valley, Jiang Chen's eyes suddenly lit up. Little Chenzi, you've noticed it too, haven't you? De Huang Dog looked at Jiang Chen. There is a formation floating here. This valley is merely an illusion that has appeared in front of us. It is not the real scene. As for the real scene, we will only be able to discover it after we break this illusion formation, said Jiang Chen. He could clearly sense the qi of the formation here. His attainments in the field of formation were just too high. His senses were incomparably sharp. He could tell whether there was a formation in the void with just a glance. That's right. No matter how real the illusion was, it couldn't escape Jiang Chen's eyes and perception. That's right. It's a psychedelic formation. However, we don't have to break this formation. If we do that, the real scene will be completely exposed. It wouldn't be good if the disciples of the martial pavilion were to discover it, De Huang Dog said. Jiang Chen nodded. Although De Huang Dog had his own selfish motives, what he said was not unreasonable. After all, they still didn't know what kind of treasure the Real Starlord had left behind. Moreover, if they wanted to obtain the treasure, they couldn't let too many people know about it. If they knew, it would no longer be a secret. Once they knew, it would spread to everyone. Even if Jiang Chen took the treasure away now, there would still be a lot of trouble in the future. Let alone others, just the experts of the Martial Pavilion would most likely have their eyes on it. The treasure left behind by the Starlord was no small matter. There had never been a Starlord in the entire Scarlet East region. Not even a high-level heavenly source expert had appeared. The influence of a Starlord was just too great. Hence, it was best for him to obtain the treasure silently now. No one would know about it. After he left, the disciples of the Martial Pavilion could even testify for him and prove that this was indeed an empty shell, and there was no treasure at all. Moreover, this psychedelic formation was set up by a Starlord expert. With our strength, even if we can break it, we'll still need some time. By then, the 3 days will have long passed. The Starlord space will open again, and the Scarlet Mountain will fall into chaos. De Huang Dog said. Once the 3 days were up, the Scarlet Mountain would definitely fall into chaos. Everyone in the Yu clan would die. How could the higher-ups of the Yu clan let it go so easily? That's right. If it's just finding a way to enter the psychedelic formation, it'll be very simple for us. We'll be able to enter in 2 hours without anyone noticing. Jiang Chen patted De Huang Dog's head. When this dog was smart, he was quite smart. Since that's the case, let's begin. It should be very easy to enter after some research. De Huang Dog bared his teeth. Thinking that there would be treasures left behind by a Starlord expert, the dog could not help but be excited. At this time, in another wilderness, the war between the human clan and the Yu clan had completely ended. Without any surprise, the 6th young master, Zhao Qianquan, and the leader of the Yu clan who fought against Ji Tian were both killed. One was killed by Li Long, and the other by Ji Tianj. So far, all the genius disciples of the Yu clan who entered this time, all the experts of the Unity Realm, including the 3 captains of the First Heaven of the Earth Source Realm, had died tragically. None of them walked out alive. Tragic, it was really tragic. This war was a fatal blow to the Yu clan. The Yu clan suffered such a great loss that it was impossible to recover. The Martial Pavilion also suffered a loss of at least 700 or 800 disciples. However, compared to the loss of the Yu clan, it was not even worth mentioning. More than 2,000 disciples of the Martial Pavilion who were still alive had been baptized by life and death. Every one of them had undergone a great transformation. With such a transformation, their future achievements would be much higher than before. At this moment, more than 2,000 disciples of the Martial Pavilion gathered together. All of their faces were filled with excitement. They had won a great victory. Such a great victory was unimaginable even in their dreams. We must thank teacher Jiang Chen for this battle. If it wasn't for him, the ones who would be buried here would be us instead of the winged men. That's right. That's right. The so-called Starlord's ruins were originally a trap set by the Yu clan. It was a big conspiracy. Fortunately, teacher Jiang Chen broke it directly. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. The end of the Yu clan would be our end. This war was really exciting. After being guided by teacher Jiang Chen, my cultivation has also improved a lot. Now I have a vague feeling that I'm going to break through. This feeling is really nostalgic. Chapter 40-49. Sigh, it's a pity. It's really a pity that I couldn't team up with Teacher Jiang Chen. I couldn't get Teacher Jiang Chen's guidance. It's really a big loss this time. That's right. You guys are really lucky to be in the same team as Teacher Jiang Chen. The other team has also received Teacher Jiang Chen's guidance. We haven't seen Teacher Jiang Chen's face yet. This won't do. When we get back, I must personally pay a visit to ask for guidance. I also want to be guided by Teacher Jiang Chen. Some people were happy, while others were sad. The disciples of Li Long's team were full of regret. Although they were also very excited because of the great victory of this battle, they saw that the disciples of the other two teams had received guidance from Jiang Chen and thus obtained great benefits. Some of them had even begun to break through, but they had missed such a great opportunity. How could they not be disappointed? They did not believe it at first, but the result forced them to believe it. With so many people saying it, they had no reason to not believe it. Now that the battle was over, they could only wait until they returned to the martial pavilion to ask for guidance from Jiang Chen. However, they did not know if Jiang Chen would be willing to specially guide them. You two guys are really lucky. After receiving guidance from Jiang Chen, you actually made such great progress. Li Long looked at the proud Nie Xiaoying and Ji Tian and said with incomparable envy. He could feel the changes in Nie Xiaoying and Ji Tian, especially Nie Xiaoying, who was about to break through to the second heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm. Li Long, how can you call teacher by his name? Do you still want teacher to guide you? Ji Tian's eyes widened. I was wrong. I should call him teacher. Sigh, I don't know what teacher is doing now. If he was here, I would ask teacher to guide me no matter what. Li Long hurriedly admitted his mistake. Although Jiang Chen was not here, his attitude was very good. He did not dare to show any disrespect to Jiang Chen. Teacher said to go to this space to see if there is anything strange in this Star-Lord space. What should we do now? Ji Tian asked. It's only been a day. According to the agreement, there are still 2 more days before we can leave this place. We can't just stand here and stare at each other for 2 days. Nie Xiaoying said. In my opinion, we should also take a look around. It's not easy to come to the Star-Lord space, so we should at least take a look around. Even if it's an empty shell, we can at least gain some experience. If we're lucky enough to come across some treasures, that would be a real fortune. Xie Ting said. In a faction like the Martial Pavilion, Xie Ting was probably the only one who could stand together with Nie Xiaoying and the other two and even dare to give guidance. The young city lord of the divine martial city had an esteemed status. Let alone Nie Xiaoying and the others, even peak Earth Source experts would have to give Xie Ting some face. Junior brother Xie is right. In any case, all the winged people have been killed by us. There are no more threats in this space. Why don't we take a stroll around here and see if we can obtain any benefits? That will depend on our luck. Li Long said. All right, let's do that. You don't have to gather together. Just wander around. Just treat these 2 days as fun. After a life-and-death battle, everyone is a little tired. Let's relax. Nie Xiaoying said. More than 2,000 disciples of the martial pavilion began to disperse. They all kept their flight talismans and chose to go on foot. After all, treasures like flight talismans were specially made to deal with the winged race. It would be a great waste to use them when they were not fighting the winged race. The disciples of the martial pavilion began to have fun. The intense battle was over. It was rare to relax in the Star-Lord space. This was also a kind of experience. And at this time, they could play however they wanted. There was no need to worry about what kind of enemies they would encounter. All the genius disciples of the winged race had been killed. Late at night, rising Feather Mountain, the hinterland of the winged race. Zhao Lingxiao paced back and forth in the main hall, frowning from time to time. Patriarch, why are you sighing? A heavenly source realm elder asked. I don't know why, but I feel uneasy, as if something bad has happened. Zhao Lingxiao said. Patriarch, you're worrying too much. Our plan is flawless, and we saw the disciples of the 2 races enter with our own eyes. Nothing bad will happen. Let alone the 8 gates maze formation. Even without the formation, the human race is no match for us in the competition of the Unity Origin realm. The elder said with a smile. He was extremely confident. There won't be any problems with the 8 gates maze formation, right? Zhao Lingxiao was still a little annoyed. This kind of annoyance was very rare for a patriarch like him. It was personally designed by me. I led a dozen heavenly source experts to set it up. In the entire martial pavilion, only Zhan Yang of the everlasting pavilion has the strength to break the formation. Unfortunately, Zhan Yang doesn't know our plan. As a heavenly source expert, Zhan Yang can't enter the ruins of the Star Lord. The elder became even more confident. Yes, by the way, closely monitor the movements of the Qiling Mountain. If any heavenly source experts of the martial pavilion want to enter the ruins of the Star Lord, report immediately. Zhao Lingxiao said. Don't worry. The martial pavilion is quiet. They're all in the divine martial city. There's not even a single demonic beast in the Qiling Mountain, so no one will mess up our chance. In 2 days, the Star Lord's ruins will reopen. At that time, we'll just have to wait and see the bitter faces of the upper echelons of the human race. Another heavenly source expert laughed. He really could not think of any accidents that could happen to such a flawless opportunity. He also did not know where Zhao Lingxiao's worries and annoyance came from. Yes. Zhao Lingxiao nodded firmly, feeling a little relieved. However, the annoyance in the depths of his heart had not completely disappeared. Zhao Lingxiao really could not think of any accidents that could happen to the plan. Looks like I'm worrying for nothing. There are still 2 days left. I really hope time passes faster. My son, Qiankuan, don't let your father down, Zhao Lingxiao thought. Zhao Qiankuan was one of the sons he was proud of. He had reached the Earth Source stage at such a young age. This time, he had asked Zhao Qiankuan to personally lead the team, which was a form of trust for him. Unfortunately, Zhao Lingxiao would never have thought that the flawless plan of the Yu clan had long been destroyed by Zhang Chen. Let alone Zhao Qiankuan, all 3 of his sons had died tragically. Not a single one of the 2,000 Yu clan members had survived. If Zhao Lingxiao knew about this, he would probably vomit blood in anger. However, it was not only the Yu clan that was worried. The martial pavilion was also worried. Chapter 40-50. I wonder what's going on in the Star Lord's remains. The disciples of the martial pavilion might not have any advantage against the disciples of the feather race. Wu Changtian sighed. As the master of the martial pavilion, he had a lot of responsibilities. He was responsible for the lives of many people. In fact, Wu Changtian was already regretting his bet with Zhao Lingxiao. Brother Wu, don't think too much. The disciples of the human race also need real training. If we keep cultivating in the martial pavilion like flowers in a greenhouse, what kind of future can we have? Xie Yunping said. Brother Xie is right. Only by experiencing real life and death battles can we truly grow. I feel that this is a great opportunity for the disciples of the human race. All the fusion origin disciples of the Yun manor should participate. Yun Sinan said. He and Xie Yunpeng were of the same mind in this regard. That's right. In the Red East region, we and the feather race have always been enemies. There will be a battle sooner or later. Zhao Lingxiao is ambitious and has not given up on destroying the human race. If our disciples don't grow, they will only be suppressed by the feather race disciples in the future. Zhen Yang said. There are still 2 days. I hope there won't be too many losses this time. Wu Changtian said. He and Zhao Lingxiao had completely different thoughts. Zhao Lingxiao felt that the plan was flawless, but his hidden sixth sense made him feel irritated. He felt that something bad was about to happen. On the other hand, Wu Changtian was worried about the strength of the disciples of the martial pavilion. Unfortunately, they did not know what was happening in the Star Lord space. Everything had already been settled. If the results of the Star Lord space were to spread, the entire divine martial city would be in an uproar. At this moment, in the Star Lord space, above the desolated valley, Jiang Chen and Big Yellow had finished studying the hallucinatory grand formation. They had successfully entered the formation. Sure enough, the scene inside had changed greatly. It was a completely different world compared to the valley before. It was an incomparably dark cave dwelling, filled with a gloomy aura. Jiang Chen and a Huang dog stood in a corridor that was like a black hole. There was a faint light in front of them, like a dot of light in the darkness, guiding them forward. It was gloomy, decaying, and filled with negative energy. Jiang Chen and a Huang dog couldn't help but frown. Woo woo. In front of the long corridor, cries could be heard. That's right, it was the sound of sobbing. In such an environment, it was truly like a ghost, causing one's hair to stand on end. What great resentment, the Huang dog said. That's right. There's resentment everywhere. It seems that the Star Lord died with a grievance. Even though he's dead, his resentment is still there. Jiang Chen said. We seem to have entered the tomb of the Master of the Stars, so it's best to be careful. With such a strong aura of resentment, it's very easy for it to be guided by the weak consciousness of the Master of the Stars and form a vengeful spirit in this environment. De Huang Dog said. Just as De Huang Dog finished speaking, an illusory white shadow suddenly appeared in front of the two of them. It was extremely fast and silent. Suddenly, it stretched out its sharp claws and clawed at Jiang Chen. A vengeful spirit. Jiang Chen's body flashed and dodged the claw. De Huang Dog had guessed correctly. There really was a vengeful spirit here. A vengeful spirit formed from the thick aura of resentment of a Star Lord was extremely terrifying. Furthermore, this kind of vengeful spirit was extremely frightening. Not only did it have a strong attack power, but it could also affect a person's subconscious. Once the person's subconscious was attacked by the vengeful spirit, they would become an existence similar to the vengeful spirit and lose their consciousness. It was extremely terrifying. Be careful. The vengeful spirit here is probably at the Earth Source realm. De Huang Dog warned. It's fine. Vengeful spirits are formless. No matter how strong their attack power is, their origin won't change. My Green Lotus Clear Starfire is their greatest weapon. Formless vengeful spirits, even if they're at the Earth Source realm, can't withstand a single blow from my Green Lotus Clear Starfire. Jiang Chen said. He understood the characteristics of these vengeful spirits too well. In front of the Green Lotus Clear Starfire, no matter how strong the vengeful spirit was, it would be useless. There was only one outcome. Oh! With a mournful cry, the vengeful spirit launched another attack. However, this time, Jiang Chen did not dodge. The vengeful spirit was fast, but he was even faster. He flicked a flame from his finger, hitting the incoming vengeful spirit. Ah! The vengeful spirit was ignited by the flames. It let out a mournful cry before being burned to ashes in the blink of an eye. The flames on Jiang Chen's body were formed from the fusion of several types of divine flames. It was the nemesis of all evil beings in the world. How could a mere formless vengeful spirit resist Jiang Chen's flames? Awesome! De Huang Dog praised. Fighting by Jiang Chen's side was always so refreshing. Jiang Chen had just too many tricks up his sleeve. He could deal with any unpredictable situation. Oh! Facing the cries, Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog continued walking along the dark corridor. Such an environment was too frightening. If it were any other disciple of the martial pavilion, they would be scared to death. In such a long corridor, they might not even have the strength to walk, let alone fight with a vengeful spirit. Only Jiang Chen and Big Yellow were brave enough to do so. They had experienced too many dangerous places in their life. This small tomb of a Star Lord was nothing to them. Edited by Lifer, Fingerfox. As for these vengeful spirits, they could not even cause a ripple of fear in their hearts, let alone frighten them. The aura of resentment was too strong, and there was definitely more than one vengeful spirit. This long corridor seemed to have no end. From time to time, vengeful spirits would rush out and attack Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog. The vengeful spirits here had never come into contact with the outside world, but they had the instinct to eat humans. Once a vengeful spirit ate a human and drank their blood, they would absorb the true yang energy and begin to transform. Once they transformed, they would become more powerful. It would not be easy for Jiang Chen's flames to burn the vengeful spirits to death as easily as before. Unfortunately, these vengeful spirits did not have the opportunity to transform. Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog were the only humans they encountered. It was undoubtedly a pipe dream for them to want to drink Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog's blood. Oh! Mournful screams continuously sounded. In the entire long corridor, all the vengeful spirits were eliminated by Jiang Chen. After eliminating these vengeful spirits, the aura of resentment in this place weakened by a lot. It was at least half of what it was before. As for Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog, after endless efforts, they finally reached the end of the long corridor and entered the real cave dwelling. The sealed cave dwelling was surrounded by cold stone walls. At this point, the aura was no longer gloomy, but the incomparably evil aura of resentment was even stronger. Chapter 4051. The huge copper coffin was at least 10 times the size of an ordinary coffin. What did 10 times the size mean? It was almost the size of a house. What was noteworthy was that there was no lid on the bronze coffin. What a huge copper coffin. Could it be the corpse of the celestial lord? De Huang Dog said. Such a scene really made people shudder. Why don't we climb up and see? Jiang Chen revealed a smile at the corner of his mouth. Not the slightest bit of fear. This cave is empty. If there are really treasures, they should be in this copper coffin, De Huang Dog said. Big Yellow said. After that, the two brothers leapt up and landed on top of the bronze coffin. There was nothing special about this copper coffin. There were no arrays or runes on it. In fact, there was no need for them at all. For the owner of this place, being able to pass through layers of obstacles to reach this place had already proved his ability. It was meaningless to continue to set up arrays and runes around the copper coffin. Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog stood on both sides of the copper coffin. The two looked at each other and then looked inside the copper coffin. In this huge copper coffin, a beautiful and charming woman lay quietly. This woman looked to be about 30 years old. Although it was unknown how long she had been dead, her corpse did not decay in the slightest. Of course, it was normal for the corpse to be preserved in good condition. After all, this woman was a celestial lord. A powerful celestial lord's body was as solid as diamond. It was not that easy to decay. What really attracted Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog's attention was the pair of white wings on the woman's back. These wings were too familiar. A winged person. Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog looked at each other again. The one who left this celestial lord's relic turned out to be a winged person, a powerful celestial lord of the Feather Clan. I heard from the elders of the Everlasting Pavilion that the Feather Clan is a big clan in the Eternal World. They not only exist in the Red East Domain, but also in the entire Red Cloud star boundary. The Red East Domain is just one of them. It seems that this should be the celestial lord of the Red Middle Domain. I wonder why she was buried here. De Huang Dog said. Humph. Since it was left behind by a harpy expert, there's no need to hold back. Let's see if there are any other treasures here. We've already searched through everything. Jiang Chen harumphed coldly. Plundering the treasures left behind by the harpies was a wonderful idea. He didn't feel any guilt at all. That's the 10-winged feather man. It's said that they have the highest bloodline of the feather race. Their wings can reach up to 100, and they are known as the 100-winged feather man. What a terrifying race. De Huang Dog sighed. The 100-winged feathered man. I'm afraid such an existence will only exist when we reach the true peak of the eternal world. It's not something we should consider for now. Let's deal with the feathered race in the Crimson East region first. Jiang Chen said. Look, there is a brocade box. De Huang Dog's eyes were sharp, and he saw a golden brocade box placed under one of the woman's wings. The brocade box wasn't big, and it was only the size of 2 palms. It was covered by the wings, and only a corner of it was revealed. If one didn't look carefully, it would really be difficult to notice. The treasures should be in here. Jiang Chen didn't stand on ceremony at all. He made a grabbing motion in the air, and the brocade box automatically flew up and fell into Jiang Chen's hand. There was no restriction placed on the brocade box. Jiang Chen flicked his finger and opened the brocade box. Within the brocade box, there was a green cosmos ring. Apart from that, there was also a piece of paper. The paper looked somewhat new. It could be seen that the Star Lord had not died for a long time. Even the Star Lord domain had only existed for a few years. Open it and take a look. It should be the last words of this bird woman. Maybe she had some last wishes for you to help her complete. De Huang Dog chuckled. The last wish of a feathered man fell into the hands of a human. It's also a kind of irony. If this person knew, I'm afraid she would be so angry that she would die again. Jiang Chen also couldn't help laughing. He wondered if the last wish was for the person who received her inheritance to help her complete the great plan of destroying the human clan. If that was the case, it was destined to be a regret. Jiang Chen took out the paper and opened it casually. Lines of black words immediately appeared in front of him. For a Star Lord to leave a will, she had to write it on a piece of paper instead of leaving a divine sense. This could only mean one thing, and that was that the person who left the will was not allowed to leave a divine sense in the situation at that time. If it was a seriously injured person, their divine sense would also be damaged. Even if they managed to leave their divine sense behind, the divine sense would only last for a limited amount of time. It wouldn't last as long as it was written on a piece of paper. Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog moved closer at the same time and looked at the content with great interest. However, when they saw the first line, their expressions changed instantly. The teasing look in their eyes became serious. Wrong. They were all wrong. I hope that the person who can see this is a descendant of the human clan, not a feathered man. With just this sentence, Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog were instantly dumbfounded. This person was obviously a 10-winged feathered man, but why did she say that the person was a descendant of the human clan? There must be a hidden story behind this. Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog stopped joking and continued to read. I am not a feathered person. I am Queen Lin of the Lin Kingdom of the Red Central Region. This body is what I hate the most in this world, because this is the body of a feathered person. My own body was occupied by a feathered person, and they snuck into the Lin Kingdom to confuse the people. Back then, a feathered person's spy snuck into the Lin Kingdom and bewitched my master. Later, my master bestowed her as a concubine. Unfortunately, no one in the Lin Kingdom saw through her lies. Even I was blinded and treated her as a sister. Finally, one day, her ambition exploded and she used the soul transfer technique to frame me. She took my body and left this feathered person's body to me. No one in the Lin Kingdom believed me and wanted to kill me. I didn't even have a chance to explain. I desperately escaped to save my life, but I was already an arrow at the end of its flight. I hope that one day, I will meet a fated person who can fulfill my last wish and return to the country of Lin to clear my name and expose the bitch's face. Otherwise, the human clan of the country of Lin will be destroyed by the bitch, and the people of the country of Lin will be plunged into misery and suffering. The remnants of my cultivation are sealed in the blood spirit pearl and sealed in my mouth. After you get it, you can absorb the energy in it. Also, the things left in this interspatial ring are an opportunity for you. My name is Lin Chaofeng. There is a jade pendant in the interspatial ring that can identify my real body. Chapter 4052. Little Chenzi, do you think it's true or not? De Huang Dog looked at Jiang Chen and asked. Jiang Chen understood the meaning of De Huang Dog's words. After all, a piece of last words couldn't prove anything, because what they saw was a winged person without the slightest aura of the human race. Empress Lin might be true, or it might be a lie left behind by the winged person. If the current Empress of the Lin Kingdom was real, then Jiang Chen would be helping the winged person if he fulfilled the last words. Of course, Jiang Chen wasn't a fool. He had his own judgment. In this world, there was no lie that could confuse him. I have my own judgment. Jiang Chen picked up the storage ring from the brocade box. With a thought, he opened the storage ring. When he saw the treasures in the storage ring, even Jiang Chen couldn't help but be shocked. Inside the huge interspatial ring was a mountain of origin stones. 10,000 grade 5 origin stones, which was equivalent to at least a month's worth of grade 4 origin stones. Jiang Chen couldn't help but feel a little dizzy at the sight of such a huge amount of wealth. Damn, little Chenzi, you're rich. So many grade 4 origin stones. That's for heavenly source experts to cultivate. Grade 5 origin stones are for Star Lords. With so much wealth, you're definitely the richest person in the entire Crimson East region. Even if all the heavenly source experts in the Crimson East region were added up, they wouldn't be as rich as you. De Huang Dog jumped up. Such a huge amount of wealth was really a little scary. Jiang Chen, on the other hand, was beaming. With so many origin stones, he wouldn't have to worry about cultivating to the late heavenly source realm. So, do you think a winged person would leave so much wealth to the descendants of the human race? Jiang Chen looked at De Huang Dog. Impossible. This wealth is too shocking. If he took it out, it could help the human race raise a sect. Unless the winged person is crazy, why would he leave such wealth to the enemy? De Huang Dog shook his head. He didn't need to think too much about this. It was impossible. There was also a battle sword in the interspatial ring. On the hilt of the sword, there was a Lind character. This was a Star Lord battle weapon. In terms of Genesis weapons, it was a grade 5 origin weapon. To put it bluntly, this sword alone was priceless. In the Crimson East region, or even the Crimson Middle region, if news of this spread, it would cause endless panic. It was unknown how much power a Star Lord soldier could unleash. Jiang Chen held the sword in his hand and looked at it casually. These are human weapons. I've studied the Harpies' weapons before, and they are fundamentally different. After Jiang Chen said that, he picked up the jade pendant again. The turquoise jade pendant was very exquisite. One side of the jade pendant was still engraved with the Lin character, and the other side was engraved with a picture of 100 birds paying homage to the phoenix. It says that this jade pendant can prove its identity, which shows that this jade pendant is Empress Lin's personal belongings. In fact, jade pendants are also personal belongings. De Huang, let me ask you, it's not easy for others to take away a Star Lord's personal belongings. Jiang Chen looked at De Huang Dog. In other words, this is the real Empress Lin. The one in the Lin Kingdom is fake. It's a winged person. De Huang Dog said. That's right. An evil technique like the soul-shifting technique isn't rare, but it's extremely difficult to execute. Empress Lin must have been deceived, which was why she was attacked by this technique and had her soul and body replaced. I can basically conclude that everything written in the letter is true, but we'll have to wait until we go to the Red Mid-region and the Lin Kingdom before we can be sure. Jiang Chen said that if he had a chance to meet Empress Lin in person, with his eyesight, Jiang Chen would be able to see the truth at a glance. That's right, it's not a good idea to discuss the truth now. With our current strength, even if we go to the Crimson Middle region, we won't be of much help. We can only be beaten. Let's solve the matter in the Crimson East region first, and then go to the Crimson Middle region. I believe it won't take too long. With our foundation we can improve our cultivation very quickly. De Huang Dog said. Jiang Chen nodded. He would naturally take Empress Lin's matter to heart. If it was true, he would definitely help her fulfill her last wish. After all, he had obtained such a great opportunity from Empress Lin. If he couldn't fulfill her last wish, it would be a little unfair. Look at that blood spirit bead. De Huang Dog reminded. Okay. Jiang Chen nodded, then looked at the woman's face. Sorry. Jiang Chen flicked his finger and shot out a ray of light, which fell into the woman's mouth. The woman's mouth opened automatically, and a blood-red bead jumped out instantly. Jiang Chen grabbed it in his hand. A bead left behind by a Star Lord after exhausting his entire cultivation. The energy in this bead is definitely extraordinary. This is a real treasure. De Huang Dog's eyes lit up, and he began to lick his mouth. It's a pity that Empress Lin's final state was too weak. There isn't much energy in this bead. However, if you and I refine it, it won't be a problem for us to increase our cultivation by 2 levels. Jiang Chen looked at the blood spirit bead and said, 2 levels is not bad. Then what are we waiting for? This Lord Dog can't wait any longer. De Huang Dog shook his head. All right, then let's refine this blood spirit bead before we leave. There are still about 2 days left. It's enough for us to refine it. Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog jumped down from the bronze coffin and sat down cross-legged. The blood spirit bead floated between them, and the man and dog began to refine it. Hiss! Strands of energy flew out from the blood spirit bead and entered Jiang Chen and De Huang Dog's bodies. These two were super freaks. Their foundations were too deep, and they could increase their cultivation as long as they had energy. There was no bottleneck at all. Although Empress Lin left the blood spirit bead in an extremely poor state, she was a Star Lord after all. Even a little bit of energy left behind could greatly benefit a Unity Origin expert. Not long after they started refining the energy, Jiang Chen broke through and successfully reached the 6th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm. Soon after, De Huang Dog also advanced to the 8th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm. However, the two brothers didn't stop. With their foundations they could definitely continue to make breakthroughs. It wouldn't be a problem for both of them to advance another level. However, the two brothers had to slow down a little. After all, the impact of the energy was too fast, and it would more or less affect their bodies. If nothing unexpected happened, after the blood spirit bead was completely refined, Jiang Chen's cultivation would reach the peak of the 7th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm, and De Huang Dog's cultivation would reach the peak of the 9th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm. Chapter 4053. All the disciples of the Martial Pavilion had appeared. They all remembered that when the Star-Lord's space reopened, no one would be late. After all, if they couldn't get out, they might have to stay here forever. A space left behind by the Star-Lord, it was undoubtedly a delusion for them to walk out with their own abilities. Motherfucker, there's no Star-Lord ruins at all. I'm so disappointed. I didn't have any illusions. The Star-Lord ruins is just an empty shell. It's a trap set by the Feather Race to trap us here. Unfortunately, they went for wool and came home shorn. In the end, they were the ones who suffered. That's right. That's right. Let's not think about the treasures. We're lucky to be able to keep our lives and walk out of here alive. We can imagine that if it wasn't for Teacher Jiang Chen, we would all be dead. We'll end up like the winged men. Furthermore, we didn't come here in vain. After the battle of life and death with the winged men, we've all experienced the baptism of life and death. We've all undergone a fundamental transformation. Moreover, most of us have been guided by Teacher Jiang Chen. For the disciples of the martial pavilion, it was not a pity that they couldn't get any treasures here. After all, after knowing that it was a trap of the feather race, they didn't have any illusions about this place. Since the experts of the feather race could set up the 8 gates maze formation here, they must have entered here before. If there were treasures here, they wouldn't have had a chance to get their hands on them. They would have been plundered by the experts of the feather race long ago. Just as some people had said, they didn't gain nothing. Instead, they gained a lot. Growth in a battle of life and death was often the rarest thing. Moreover, many of them had been guided by Jiang Chen. Some of them had already broken through in these 2 days. For example, Nie Xiaoying had successfully broken through to the 2nd heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm. Ji Tian was not far from breaking through, which made Li Long drool with envy. Xie Ting was extremely talented. After this battle, he had broken through again, becoming a 9th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm. The speed of his growth was astonishing. Why hasn't Teacher Jiang Chen appeared yet? The space gate will open soon, said Li Long said. Many people looked into the distance, but they still did not see Jiang Chen's shadow. They had been wandering in this Star-Lord space for 2 days, and no one had seen the slightest trace of Jiang Chen. That's right. Teacher Jiang Chen wouldn't be unaware of the time. Logically speaking, he should have returned by now. He wouldn't have encountered any trouble, right? Ji Tian said. That won't happen. Teacher is omnipotent. Even if he encounters any difficulties, he will be able to resolve them. We don't have to worry too much. Teacher will definitely be fine. Nie Xiaoying said. She had seen Jiang Chen's power with her own eyes. Jiang Chen's omnipotent image had been deeply rooted in her heart. His image was so lofty that she even blindly believed that there was no trouble or difficulty in this world that could make Jiang Chen helpless. At this moment, the upper echelons of the human race and feather race appeared once again above the river at the center of Qiling Mountain. However, there were a lot more people this time compared to 3 days ago. A few of the upper echelons of the earthly origin realm had also appeared. According to what had been said before, the deep layer of the Star-Lord's ruins would be opened once the Unity Realm disciples finished their training. They all wanted to go in and have a look. Whether it was the upper echelons of the earthly origin realm or the heavenly origin realm, the Star-Lord's ruins held a fatal attraction to them. Ha ha ha, Brother Wu, Brother Xie. How have you been? Zhao Lingxiao clasped his fists at Wu Changtian and Xie Yunpeng as he spoke with great joy. Zhao Lingxiao, why are you so happy? Or do you think that your feather race disciples will definitely win? Xie Yunpeng said in a bad mood. Definitely win? Of course they'll win. If I'm not wrong, your human disciples have probably all been wiped out. Not a single one of them will be able to come out alive, Zhao Lingxiao said proudly. There was no longer a need to hide anything at this point in time, because when the spatial door opened, not a single human disciple would be able to come out. Wu Changtian naturally wanted to know the outcome. What did you say? Wu Changtian's expression changed. He had been feeling uneasy for the past few days. He was extremely worried about the disciples that had entered the Star-Lord ruins. He immediately knew that something bad must have happened when he saw Zhao Lingxiao's expression. Zhao Lingxiao, what do you mean? Did you do something behind the scenes? Xie Yunpeng frowned. Something behind the scenes? That's right, it was indeed my doing. Now that things have come to this, I don't mind telling you that this Star-Lord's relic is just an empty shell. There's nothing inside, and there's no so-called deep space. Letting the disciples go in to train is just a plot of the feather race against the human race. Zhao Lingxiao loudly said, Humph. Our feather race has already set up the 8 gates maze formation inside, and chased away all the demonic beasts to make the opening of the Star-Lord ruins more realistic. Your 3,000 disciples have already fallen into the 8 gates maze formation the moment they entered the Star-Lord space. They can only wait to be slaughtered, becoming lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Hearing this, the experts of the human race felt as if they had been struck by lightning. Wu Changtian in particular staggered and almost fell from the sky. The Eight Gates Maze Formation is a peerless trapping formation. Those who are trapped inside can't see the people outside and can only wait to be killed. If a dozen heavenly source experts had set up this formation together, even I wouldn't be able to break it. The pavilion master of the everlasting pavilion, Zhen Yang's face was extremely gloomy. Others might not know how powerful the Eight Gates Maze Formation was, but he knew it very well. If the U race had really set up the Eight Gates Maze Formation in the Star Master space, then Zhao Lingxiao's words were definitely not an exaggeration. The 3,000 human geniuses might really be wiped out. Zhao Lingxiao, I'm going to kill you. Xie Yunpeng was enraged. A terrifying aura rushed out from his body and charged towards Zhao Lingxiao without saying a word. He couldn't help but be angry. His precious son was also among them. If Xie Ting died, Xie Yunpeng would definitely fight to the death with the feather race. Humph. Xie Yunpeng, do you think I'm afraid of you? Zhao Lingxiao coldly snorted and charged towards Xie Yunpeng in a flash. At this moment, Zhao Lingxiao's aura was soaring. His words were meant to infuriate Wu Changtian, Xie Yunpeng, and the others. When people were enraged, they would often lose their rationality, just like Xie Yunpeng. Chapter 4054. Rumble. The two heavenly source experts collided with each other in an extremely ferocious manner. With just a single collision, the sky darkened. The river below rippled with waves. An array of sword light descended from the sky, directly splitting the river in half. In the void, Xie Yunpeng and Zhao Lingxiao fought back and forth passionately. Their murderous intent soared to the sky. Without exception, both of them wanted to kill each other. Both of them were the top representatives of their respective camps. Once they died, the loss would be unimaginable and irreparable. Zhao Lingxiao, give me back my son's life. Xie Yunpeng went crazy. He only had one son, and he regarded his life as important. Now that Xie Ting had been framed by the Feather Clan and died in the Star-Lord space, Xie Yunpeng had lost his rationality and attacked recklessly. The experts of the Martial Pavilion and the Feather Clan were facing each other, and it seemed like they would fight to the death if there was any disagreement. However, both sides did not move. The Feather Clan naturally did not want to fight to the death with the Human Clan, because they had just completed their grand scheme, and the outcome of their grand scheme was about to be revealed. As long as the geniuses of the Human Clan died in there, the Feather Clan could slowly fight with the Human Clan. As for Wu Changtian's side, they still had a glimmer of hope. Without seeing the Star-Lord space open again, they still did not believe that the 3,000 genius disciples of the Martial Pavilion would all die tragically. This was an unbearable pain. Rumble. At this moment, in the void above the river, a space portal gradually formed, and a shadow appeared. The 3 days that the Feather Clan experts had planned had already passed, and the sealed Star-Lord space was about to open again. At this moment, Xie Yunpeng and Zhao Lingxiao also temporarily stopped what they were doing. Everyone's gaze was fixed on the space portal above the river. On the Human Clan side, everyone's expression was ugly, and they gritted their teeth. After knowing about the Eight Gates Maze Formation, they did not have much hope. However, even if it was the only hope, they still had to have it, especially for Wu Changtian, the sect master of the Martial Pavilion. He was the supreme ruler of the Martial Pavilion, as well as the representative of the human race. It was his decision that caused the 3,000 disciples of the Martial Pavilion to be trapped. If the result was as Zhao Lingxiao had said, that all the disciples of the human race could not make it out alive, he, Wu Changtian, would not be able to absolve himself from the blame. From then on, he would spend the rest of his life in endless regret. On the other hand, the people of the Feather Race all had smiles on their faces. They did not even need to guess what would happen in the Star-Lord's ruins. In their eyes, the outcome was already fixed and there was no suspense. They were well aware of the situation in the Star Master space. It was an empty shell with nothing inside, so there was no way anything could go wrong. In other words, with the help of the Eight Gates Maze Formation, unless the sun rose from the west, the human disciples would not have any chance of survival. At this moment, within the Star-Lord space, over 2,000 disciples of the Martial Pavilion, upon seeing the sudden appearance of the space door, had their eyes light up once again. Every single one of them had the feeling of being able to see the light of day again. Previously, when they were trapped in the Eight Gates Maze Formation, everyone was in complete despair. They did not believe that they would have the chance to see the sun outside and return to the Martial Pavilion that they were familiar with. The space door has opened. Let's go. Someone said. Teacher Jiang Chen and a Huang dog are not back yet. Could they have met with an accident? Yeah, why aren't they back yet? Did they forget the time? I don't think so. This place is an empty shell. There isn't even a single demonic beast. Even we have been wandering around here for so long without encountering any danger. With Teacher Jiang Chen's ability, it is even more impossible for him to meet with any trouble. All the disciples of the Martial Pavilion were worried about Jiang Chen. After all, the space door was right in front of them and it was about to open. Moreover, the opening of the space door would not take too long. Don't worry, everyone. We are very clear about Teacher Jiang Chen's ability. He will definitely be fine. The appearance of the space door will cause quite a commotion, and Teacher will be able to see it. When the time comes, he will return. Don't forget, Teacher can fly. His speed is far faster than us. Nie Xiaoying said loudly. Now, everyone follow me and leave this place. We will wait for Teacher to return to Chilean Mountain. Nie Xiaoying was currently at the second heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm. She had the highest cultivation among those present, surpassing Li Long and Ji Tian. Her words were naturally the leader. To put it bluntly, Nie Xiaoying was now the leader of this place. Everyone would definitely listen to her words unconditionally. Alright, let's go first. Xie Ting's aura fluctuated, and he was the first to leap into the space door. Afterwards, a large number of disciples of the Martial Pavilion began to follow Xie Ting into the space door. At the center of Chilean Mountain, above the river, the experts of the human race and the feather race stared unblinkingly at the space door that had completely formed, waiting for the people inside to come out. The outcome of this shocking conspiracy, and whether it had developed according to the experts of the feather race's expectations, would soon be revealed. Xie Yunping, just wait and see. Your son is already dead. Those who come out will all be members of the feather race. Not a single one of your human race will come out alive. How pitiful, how lamentable, haha. Zhao Lingxiao laughed loudly. He was incomparably arrogant and pleased. Seeing Xie Yunping's and Wu Chongtian's ashen faces, Zhao Lingxiao's inner joy could not be contained. Xie Yunping clenched his fists so tightly that cracking sounds could be heard. He had already made sufficient preparations. As long as all those who came out were feather race, he would definitely kill Zhao Lingxiao at all costs. Even if he lost his life, he would not hesitate. Bang! With a loud sound, a figure rushed out from the space door. The first person to come out was none other than Xie Ting. Father! Xie Ting happened to see Xie Yunping, who was the closest to him, after appearing. He immediately shouted, Ting! Xie Yunping's eyes widened, and then he rubbed them forcefully, wondering if there was something wrong with his eyes. Whoosh! In the next moment, Xie Yunping flashed through the air and arrived before Xie Ting like a bolt of lightning. He grabbed Xie Ting's shoulders with both hands and constantly examined him. Unknowingly, his eyes became a little moist. Father, what's wrong with you? Aren't I fine? Xie Ting chuckled. In front of his father, he laughed like a child. Ting, it's really you. You're not dead. That's great. Ha ha ha, that's great. Your cultivation has actually improved to such a level. You've already reached the 9th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm. That's beyond my expectations. Chapter 40-55. The great joys and sorrows of life came too suddenly, and it was too exciting. Previously, Xie Yunping had fallen into a bottomless abyss, a bottomless swamp, and was unable to extricate himself. At this moment, seeing his son appear before him unscathed, Xie Yunping simply couldn't describe his feelings. It's Xie Ting. Look, Xie Ting came out alive. Wu Chongtian pointed at Xie Ting and said excitedly. His heart, which was originally in despair, became extremely agitated the moment he saw Xie Ting. At least, this meant that the situation in the Star-Lord space wasn't like what Zhao Lingxiao had said. What's going on? Zhao Lingxiao's originally arrogant face turned cold in an instant. The first person to come out of the Star-Lord space was actually not a member of the U-race, but a human. This outcome stunned all the experts of the U-race. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Soon, groups of human geniuses came out of the Void Gate. They descended from the sky and landed on the side of the human race. Ha ha ha, look, that's Zhang Qing and Han Dong. They're all alive. They're all alive. Feng Wei is also alive. Who said that the human race will be destroyed? Aren't they all our people?
Look at them, all of them are in high spirits, and some of them even have a breakthrough in their cultivation.
It's obvious that they've obtained great benefits. The upper echelons of the martial pavilion began to get excited, especially Wu Changtian. This heavenly source expert, the dignified sect master of the martial pavilion, actually had tears in his eyes. He was feeling the same as Xie Yunping. What's going on? Who can tell me what's going on? Is it someone from the Yu race? Zhao Lingxiao was going crazy. This outcome was worlds apart from what he had expected. What happened to the 8 gates disorientating formation? Didn't they say that not a single human would be able to come out alive? What the hell is going on?
Impossible, this is impossible.
The 8 gates maze formation was clearly set up by us. It's impossible for those Unity Origin Realm disciples of the human race to break the 8 gates maze formation. What's going on? What happened in the Star-Lord space? Where are our people? Why haven't any of our disciples come out? Seeing the human disciples come out one by one, the upper echelons of the feather race panicked. Their expressions changed drastically. Up until now, not a single feather race disciple had come out. This gave the feather race an ominous feeling. At the center of the Star-Lord space, Jiang Chen and a Huang Dog had completely refined the energy in the blood spirit orb. As expected, Jiang Chen's cultivation had reached the peak of the 7th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin Realm, while De Huang Dog's cultivation had reached the peak of the 9th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin Realm. They were only a step away from the Earth Source Realm, and with their strength, it would not be difficult for them to reach the Earth Source Realm. The spatial gate has reopened. Let's hurry up and leave, De Huang Dog said. All right. Jiang Chen nodded. He looked at the copper coffin and made a decision. I want to take this coffin away and exchange it for the truth. Jiang Chen said. Yes. Although it's the body of a feather person, it was brought here by the soul of Empress Lin. It's not appropriate to leave her here on the Chilling Mountain, De Huang Dog said. Jiang Chen stretched out the true dragon palm and grabbed the copper coffin. He put it into his interspatial ring, then flew towards the spatial gate with De Huang Dog. With their speed, it was extremely fast to reach the spatial gate. This was different from when they were looking for the copper coffin. Back then, it would naturally take them a long time to find it. Now, there was no need to look for it. With their speed, the distance was nothing. Not to mention, with Jiang Chen and a Huang Dog's speed, it would not be a problem for them to reach the spatial gate before it closed. Above the river, more than 2,000 disciples of the human race had all walked out of the spatial gate. Wu Changtian's face was full of joy. Although there were losses, they were within his expectations. Compared to what Zhao Lingxiao had said, it was much better. The faces of the experts of the feather race were pale. They were still staring at the spatial gate. However, after the disciples of the human race had come out, the spatial gate became strangely quiet. There was no sign of anyone coming out. Zhao Lingxiao, stop looking. The disciples of the feather race have all been annihilated. Your 3 sons are all dead. Xie Ting stood in front of Xie Yunpeng and said to Zhao Lingxiao. Boom! These words were like thunder to the feather race, especially Zhao Lingxiao. He had lost 3 sons at once. He felt the world was spinning and his head was filled with blood. He spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot. Bastard, what did you say? Zhao Lingxiao shouted angrily. His expression was about to tear. You heard what I said very clearly, right? Zhao Lingxiao, your Yu clan set up the 8 gates maze formation to trap us, but you went for wool and came home shorn. In the end you harmed yourself instead. This is karma. Xie Ting was not afraid of Zhao Lingxiao at all. He was very happy. Ting, what's going on? Xie Yunping asked. Xiaoying, Li Long, Ji Tian. What happened in the Star-Lord's ruins? Wu Changtian asked Nie Xiaoying and the other 2. Whoosh. Zhao Lingxiao and the other senior officials of the feather race looked over at the same time. Obviously, they were also eager to know what had happened inside. They wanted to know who had broken the 8 gates maze formation. Even if they had broken the formation, how could they have wiped out the 2,000 disciples of the feather race? The feather race had no other advantages, but compared to the human race, speed was definitely their biggest advantage. Even if they could not defeat the human race, they could definitely escape. Even if it was difficult for them to escape, they should not have been completely wiped out. Even Zhao Qiankuan, who was at the Earth Source Realm, could not escape. Father, sect leader, there's something you don't know. The Star Lord's remains are just an empty shell. It's a trap set up by the Yu clan. They entered in advance and set up the 8 Gates maze formation. It's an inescapable net. After our 3 teams entered, we were immediately trapped in the 8 Gates maze formation. The disciples of the Yu clan launched a sneak attack outside, causing us to lose many disciples. It's really hateful, Xueqi said. He could not help gnashing his teeth at the thought of the 8 Gates maze formation. How did you break the 8 Gates maze formation? A heavenly source realm expert of the feather race could not help asking. It was Master Zhang Chen. Nie Xiaoying said. Zhang Chen. The Zhang Chen who made a name for himself in the Colosseum?
An elder of the martial pavilion asked.
Yes, it was Master Zhang Chen. He is very powerful. With the help of De Huang Dog, we soon broke the 8 Gates maze formation. Chapter 4056. It's Zhang Chen from our Purple Pill Pavilion, Dan Qingzi said. He had some impression of this person.
After all, the matter of the beast dueling arena had caused quite a commotion, and he had happened to be in the martial pavilion, so he had more or less heard of this name.
I remember now. Wan Shan told me before that Zhang Chen went to the Everlasting Pavilion and gave them pointers on formations.
Even Wan Shan admires him greatly.
The Everlasting Pavilion's pavilion master, Zhan Yang, also thought of such a person. That's right. Zhang Chen is a heavenly man. His attainments in formations are far beyond our reach. With his guidance, my cultivation base will soon be able to break through to the heavenly source realm. The questions and bottlenecks that I have been suppressing for so many years have all been solved by Zhang Chen. Even I have no choice but to call him my teacher for life. If you say that Zhang Chen was the one who broke the 8 Gates maze formation, I believe it. The Grand Elder of the Everlasting Pavilion, Chong Wan Shan, happened to be here. When he thought of Zhang Chen's attainments in formations, he was filled with admiration. Our martial pavilion actually has such a capable person? Wu Changtian sighed. He was usually too busy and rarely managed the martial pavilion, so he did not even know that an amazing person like Zhang Chen had appeared in the martial pavilion. Damn it, there's actually a formation genius among the humans. We've overlooked this. Just who is this person? Even a formation genius at the Unity Source stage would find it difficult to break the 8 Gates maze formation. After all, this formation was created by over a dozen heavenly source experts. There's no point in saying anything now that it's like this. But I want to know, even if you guys broke the 8 Gates maze formation, how did you manage to wipe out all the geniuses of the feather race? The experts of the feather race had too many questions in their hearts. Without seeing the scene with their own eyes, they could not imagine just what method the humans had used to prevent a single feather race member from escaping. This was too ridiculous. Humph, Master's methods are not something you can imagine. Not only did he break your 8 Gates maze formation, he even secretly set up a sky concealing formation to cut off the feather tribe's escape route, leaving them nowhere to run. Xie Ting snorted coldly, feeling extremely pleased with himself. Furthermore, Master's methods are unfathomable, and there's nothing he doesn't know. When we were fighting, he gave us pointers that hit the nail on the head, resolving many of our doubts and bottlenecks. My cultivation base broke through under Master's guidance, and so did many other disciples. How could the harpies be a match for them? Nie Xiaoying said arrogantly. When she mentioned Zhang Chen, her eyes were filled with worship. Following that, the disciples of the martial pavilion took turns to describe the bloody battle that took place in the Star-Lord's ruins without hiding anything. Especially the battle results of Zhang Chen and De Huang Dog, they did not dare to hide anything at all. Zhang Chen and De Huang Dog were their saviors. Without Zhang Chen and De Huang Dog, they would not hesitate to say that none of the 3,000 people would have survived. In the end, they would all end up like the disciples of the feather race. And these words shocked the upper echelons of the martial pavilion. Even Chong Wanshan, who knew Zhang Chen's capabilities, was stunned when he heard it. To be able to point out the world from a high and mighty position, what kind of heroic feeling was that? There was actually such a peerless figure in the human clan. He was the reincarnation of a mighty figure. I didn't expect that there would be such a heaven-defying person in the human clan. He must be extraordinary. Zhen Yang sighed. Where's Zhang Chen? Where's Zhang Chen? Wu Changtian just remembered that they had been talking about Zhang Chen for half a day, but they had not seen Zhang Chen's shadow yet. Zhang Chen is here. Before Nie Xiaoying could speak, a shocking sound wave directly came from the space gate. In the next moment, two figures rushed out from the space gate. One was a man and one was a dog, with a pair of wings on their backs. They floated in the sky like gods of war. As soon as they appeared, they were full of heroic spirit, attracting everyone's attention. The dazzling light on their bodies made people not dare to look at them directly. Even Wu Changtian and Xie Yunpeng, who were heavenly source experts, felt that Jiang Chen was a true king when they looked at him. A supreme king. The pride and nobility in his bones could crush everyone else. It's teacher. I told you that teacher would definitely come out. Teacher's cultivation seems to have increased again. It's really amazing. I can't imagine it. Teacher is not someone that we can compare to. Anything that happens to him is normal.
Teacher must be the reincarnation of a mighty figure.
The disciples of the martial pavilion were like a great hero who had returned triumphantly. Every gaze that looked at Jiang Chen was filled with infatuation and worship. Jiang Chen, you killed my son and destroyed the disciples of the Yu clan. Hand over your life. At this moment, a loud roar rang out. Zhao Lingxiao was the first to charge at Jiang Chen. Not good. Wu Changtian and Xie Yunping shouted at the same time. They almost instantly rushed out to stop him. However, Zhao Lingxiao's movements were too fast. It was too difficult to save someone in the hands of such an expert. In that instant, Wu Changtian and Xie Yunping's hearts sank to the bottom. They could not stop him at all. If Jiang Chen died at Zhao Lingxiao's hands, it would be an irreparable loss to the human race. The reason why Zhao Lingxiao had acted so decisively was very simple. Firstly, he wanted to avenge his son. Secondly, he wanted to seize the opportunity to eliminate Jiang Chen at all costs. This person was just too amazing. If he was not eliminated as soon as possible, the battlefield would not be as simple as Chileang Mountain, but their Sky Feather Mountain. Even Jiang Chen had not expected Zhao Lingxiao to act so decisively. However, Jiang Chen did not panic in the face of the sudden attack of a heavenly source expert. There was not the slightest trace of nervousness or fear on his face. He was not nervous because he had the confidence and means to not be nervous. Just as Zhao Lingxiao's attack was about to reach him, Jiang Chen suddenly roared in his heart. Stairway to Heaven. The invisible stairway to heaven instantly floated beneath Jiang Chen and a Huang dog's feet. Zhao Lingxiao only saw a flash of light before Jiang Chen and a Huang dog suddenly vanished into thin air. They had vanished without a trace, as if they had never been there. Rumble. Zhao Lingxiao's powerful attack landed in the air, causing ripples to appear. However, Jiang Chen and a Huang dog's figures were nowhere to be seen. What's going on? Zhao Lingxiao's expression changed. He could clearly sense that his attack, which was enough to blast Jiang Chen to smithereens, had completely missed. Jiang Chen had vanished just like that. In the next moment, Jiang Chen and a Huang dog's figures reappeared, standing at the front of the human race's camp. Zhao Lingxiao, it won't be so easy for you to kill me. Chapter 4057. The Stairway to Heaven was a bridge that connected Duan Fei Lu and the Scarlet East region. Jiang Chen had already discovered its use when he put it away. The Stairway to Heaven was definitely a peerless treasure that contained the true space mysteries.
Once he grasped the Stairway to Heaven, he would be able to borrow the space profundity of the Stairway to Heaven to travel through the void.
This was similar to the Great Void teleportation. It was the best choice for escaping. It was precisely because of the Stairway to Heaven that Jiang Chen was not afraid of Zhao Lingxiao. Zhao Lingxiao was only a heavenly source expert, not a Star Lord, and knew nothing about space mysteries. With the Stairway to Heaven, it would be extremely difficult for Zhao Lingxiao to kill him. To put it bluntly, as long as Jiang Chen could skillfully use the Stairway to Heaven, no one in the Scarlet East region could kill him. Only a true Star Lord could seal a space and harm him. Unfortunately, the Scarlet East region didn't have a Star Lord, nor did the Feather Race. Jiang Chen was fearless in the Scarlet East region. What? Zhao Lingxiao exclaimed. Not only him, but everyone present also stared at Jiang Chen in shock. Their eyes were wide open as if they had seen a ghost. The shock in their eyes was indescribable. Oh my God, how did he do it? Xie Yunpeng felt his mouth go dry. He couldn't believe it was true. To be able to dodge the attack of a heavenly source expert so easily, this guy really has a lot of trump cards. Wu Changtian sighed. At the same time, he breathed a sigh of relief. After all, Jiang Chen wasn't dead, which was the best thing for the human race. Moreover, he had seen Jiang Chen dodging Zhao Lingxiao's attack with his own eyes. This made Wu Changtian pay more attention to Jiang Chen. Just like what someone had said, such a peerless figure might be the reincarnation of a mighty figure. If that was the case, it would be the fortune of the human race in the Red East region. In the Scarlet East region, the human race and the feather race had been fighting for countless years. They had always wanted to get rid of each other, but it wasn't easy to get rid of each other. Otherwise, Zhao Lingxiao would not have used such a despicable method to deal with the young geniuses of the human race. He was trying to use this method to destroy the human race. If Jiang Chen had not appeared in the human clan, the Feather Clan's plan would have worked, and the human clan would have been gradually eliminated in the years to come. But now, the tables had turned. Not only were there no gaps in the human race's prodigies, but they had also grown a lot because of this battle. On the other hand, the feather race had been completely wiped out. In the next few years, the feather race would be the ones facing extinction. Wu Changtian was no fool, and neither were the heavenly source experts of the human race. They all saw hope in Jiang Chen. The fate of the Crimson East region, the fate of the human race and the feather race, would most likely be changed by Jiang Chen. This was a person who could overturn the entire situation all by himself. He had destroyed Zhao Lingxiao's shocking scheme all by himself. He had destroyed the 8 gates disorientating formation set up by over a dozen heavenly source experts all by himself. Did you see what happened just now? How did teacher dodge that attack so easily? Li Long was dumbfounded. He looked at Nie Xiaoying and Ji Tian, only to discover that they were equally shocked. Ji Tian shook his head mechanically. How could we have seen that kind of ability? It was a full-powered attack from a heavenly source expert. If it had landed on us, we wouldn't have had a chance to react at all. We would have been crushed to pieces by Zhao Lingxiao. Teacher's ability is far beyond our imagination. Let alone us, even the sect master and the others couldn't see it clearly. I don't know how teacher dodged that attack, but one thing is certain. The feather race is truly afraid now that someone like teacher has appeared in our human race, said Nie Xiaoying. Son, I'm afraid that it won't be long before the situation in the Crimson East region changes dramatically. When you go back, you must invite your teacher to my mansion. I want to treat him well. Xie Yunpang patted Xie Ting's shoulder as he spoke in an extremely solemn voice. All right, I'll do my best to invite him. Whether he gives me face or not will depend on teacher. Xie Ting shrugged his shoulders. Xie Yunpeng was taken aback. Was there anyone in the entire Crimson East region who dared to disrespect him, the city lord of Divine Martial City? However, Xie Yunpeng also knew that a person like Jiang Chen would definitely be very arrogant. He definitely could not act high and mighty before Jiang Chen. Don't worry, father. Teacher is a very nice person. Xie Ting smiled. He had some understanding of Jiang Chen. There was no need to talk about power in front of his teacher, because power was useless in his eyes. However, Xie Ting knew that Jiang Chen did not dislike him. Jiang Chen, how did you do it? You're clearly only at the Unity Origin stage. It's impossible for you to control spatial force. Zhao Lingxiao yelled. His emotions were extremely complicated at the moment, because even with his strength, he could not tell how Jiang Chen had avoided his attack. However, Zhao Lingxiao clearly felt a slight ripple of spatial force the moment Jiang Chen disappeared, which made him even more shocked. Spatial force was something that only Star Lords could do. Jiang Chen's cultivation was only at the 7th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin stage. Even if he was at the peak of the 7th heavenly layer, he was still worlds apart from Star Lords. They were not on the same level at all. I have my own methods. Zhao Lingxiao, with me Jiang Chen, the end of your Yu clan is not far away. Jiang Chen said heroically. He did not give Zhao Lingxiao any face at all. Countless disciples of the martial pavilion looked at Jiang Chen with endless admiration. To them, let alone dodging an attack from a heavenly origin expert, even Jiang Chen's confidence and composure when facing a heavenly origin expert was not something they could achieve. The aura of a heavenly source expert was like a breeze in front of Jiang Chen, as if it didn't exist at all. Just the patriarch of the Yu family, Zhao Lingxiao, gave off an illusion that Jiang Chen was the king, the true superior. Zhao Lingxiao, on the other hand, seemed to be the weaker one. This invisible bearing made people feel like they were looking up to him. Even Zhao Lingxiao could feel this, and it was precisely because of this feeling that Zhao Lingxiao truly began to feel afraid. He had a feeling that if the Yu clan did not make a decision soon, the Yu clan would not be far from destruction. Zhao Lingxiao, your Yu clan is insane. You've schemed such a great scheme to harm a disciple of my human race. The martial pavilion will definitely settle this with you. Chapter 4058. Haha, Wu Changtian, my feather race has lost over 2,000 talented disciples, and I, Zhao Lingxiao, have lost 3 sons. Now, you want to settle the score with me? Fine, even if you don't come looking for me, I will come looking for you. From now on, the real war between the feather race and the human race will begin. Prepare yourselves, let's go. Zhao Lingxiao was exasperated. He gritted his teeth and shouted. Then, he turned around and left with the people of the feather race. Patriarch, are we going to go back just like that? An elder of the feather race said gloomily. What else do you want? Do you want to fight the human race? We won't be able to gain any advantage in this situation. Let's go back and think about it. We have to get rid of this Zhang Chen as soon as possible. Zhao Lingxiao said fiercely. His stomach was filled with anger. He even had a premonition that the real crisis of the feather race wasn't far away. Currently, the biggest threat to the human race wasn't Wu Changtian or Xie Yunpeng. He couldn't care less about these old enemies who had been entangled with him for so many years. The one he really cared about was Zhang Chen. This person was too terrifying. Although he only had the cultivation of the Unity Origin realm, the strength he displayed was too worrying. He could break the 8 Gates maze formation with his own strength. This was unimaginable. Moreover, Zhang Chen was able to dodge his powerful strike with his own strength. This made Zhao Lingxiao feel uneasy. Once such a terrifying figure was allowed to grow, the Yu race wouldn't be far from being annihilated if he was given enough time to grow. Today, Zhao Lingxiao had acted decisively. He originally wanted to get rid of Zhang Chen and get rid of a great source of trouble. However, he had never thought that Zhang Chen could dodge his attack. Now that Wu Changtian and Xie Yunpeng were blocking him, he had already lost the opportunity to attack Zhang Chen. If he attacked again, Wu Changtian and Xie Yunpeng would definitely stop him. Otherwise, Zhao Lingxiao could continue to attack and find out how Zhang Chen was able to dodge his attack. Furthermore, it was not the right time to start a war with the upper echelons of the human race. To put it bluntly, if they fought now, they would not be able to gain any advantage. The feather race had just lost more than 2,000 disciples, and their morale was at an all-time low. If they wanted to take revenge, they would have to go back and think about it at length. Grievance, endless grievance. The higher-ups of the feather race had come in high spirits, but in the end, they had to go back with their tails between their legs. Everyone felt disgusted, as though they had swallowed a fly. There was no one who wouldn't be enraged, because many of those 2,000 harpy disciples were their descendants. Sect leader, are we just going to watch them leave? On the martial pavilion side, a heavenly source stage elder said unwillingly. Let them leave. Even if we fight, we might not be able to keep them here. If it was just us old heavenly source fellows, we might be able to put up a fight against them. Even if we can't kill them, we can at least take some of their pride down a notch. However, we have over 2,000 human disciples here. Once we start fighting, it's very likely that they'll be caught in the crossfire. Wu Changtian shook his head. Brother Wu is right. This is indeed not the right time to fight the winged race. We are not confident that we can win. Yun Sinan said. However, the winged race has suffered a great loss this time. There's almost a shortage of Unity Origin stage geniuses, which will greatly restrict the development of the winged race. Zhao Lingxiao will definitely not let this matter rest. He will definitely intensify the fight with us. After we return, we have to make more preparations. Zhan Yang said. Yes, especially Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen's performance in the Star-Lord's ruins was too outstanding, and he has attracted the attention of the winged race. The winged race will definitely focus their attention on Zhang Chen and eliminate Zhang Chen at all costs. Dan Qingzi, the pavilion master of the Purple Pill Pavilion, said. The master of the Purple Pill Pavilion, Dan Qingzi, said. The others nodded in agreement. What Dan Qingzi said was right. If they were in Zhang Chen's shoes, they would also eliminate him at all costs. This was the real threat. It's fine. The winged race can do whatever they want. It won't be easy for them to kill me. Zhang Chen said indifferently. His face was full of confidence,
which came from his bones.
It could be seen that he did not take the winged race seriously at all. Jiang Chen, you have made a great contribution to the martial pavilion and the human race this time. The martial pavilion will do its best to satisfy you, Wu Changtian said as he looked at Jiang Chen. Wu Changtian looked at Jiang Chen and said. The others also looked at Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen's contribution this time was too great. No matter what request he made, no one would think that it was too much. This is what Jiang Chen should do. I don't ask for much. However, when we return to the martial pavilion, I will be cultivating in seclusion for some time. I hope that the purple pill pavilion can open the medicinal ingredients to me. Jiang Chen said that if it was before, he might have asked for some origin stones. After all, origin stones were essential for his cultivation. The more, the better. However, he had obtained a large number of origin stones from Empress Lin's tomb. The amount of origin stones had already made him the richest person in the Scarlet East region, so there was no need for him to ask for origin stones. However, Jiang Chen had gained a lot this time, and his cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds. Moreover, he and De Huang Dog had a deep foundation, so there was even more room for improvement. He could use this opportunity to return to the Purple Pill Pavilion and study pills. Jiang Chen planned to create 2 pills according to his and De Huang Dog's conditions. They could help him reach the 8th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin Realm, or even the 9th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin Realm, and help De Huang Dog reach the Earth Source Realm. The Martial Pavilion was the highest stronghold of the human race, and the Purple Pill Pavilion was dedicated to alchemy. They did not lack medicinal ingredients, so if the Purple Pill Pavilion could open the medicinal ingredients to him, it would be perfect. All right, I promise you this. When we return to the Purple Pill Pavilion, I will tell them that you can use any medicinal ingredients you need as long as the Purple Pill Pavilion has them. Before Wu Changtian could say anything, Dan Qingzi spoke first. As a disciple of the Purple Pill Pavilion, Jiang Chen was his pride. As the pavilion master, he also had glory, so what did a few pills count for? Dan Qingzi knew about Jiang Chen's miraculous abilities and guessed that he might be the reincarnation of a powerful expert. How could he miss such a great opportunity to befriend Jiang Chen? Perhaps he, as the pavilion master of the Purple Pill Pavilion, would have to ask for guidance from Jiang Chen in the future. In that case, thank you, pavilion master. Jiang Chen clasped his fist towards Dan Qingzi.
He had already become the focus of the entire Scarlet East region, but he knew that his cultivation was far from enough to deal with everything in the Scarlet East region.
He had to continuously increase his cultivation.
As a member of the Martial Pavilion, he naturally had to use the excellent conditions of the Martial Pavilion.
If he did not use it, it would be a waste. Chapter 40-59. The experts of the Martial Pavilion led more than 2,000 disciples back from the Scarlet Ridge Mountain in high spirits. Every disciple's face was filled with joy. This trip to the Star-Lord's ruins could be said to be a complete victory. If there was any regret, it would be that they had lost several hundred disciples. However, everyone knew that this was how war was, especially a war between cultivators. In fact, everyone knew that this kind of loss was much better than what they had expected. More importantly, it depended on how much the opponent had lost. The feather race was completely annihilated. If this was not a complete victory for the human race, then what was? A true triumphant return. In this battle, Jiang Chen had become the center of attention. Everyone in the Martial Pavilion admired him. Even Wu Changtian and the others had to give Jiang Chen a thumbs up. They even believed that Jiang Chen was the reincarnation of a powerful being. When they returned, they would ask Jiang Chen for advice. It should be known that even if they were at the heavenly source stage, they would still encounter many bottlenecks on the path of cultivation. Some of these bottlenecks had been obstructing them for many years. If Jiang Chen could give them some pointers, they would have the opportunity to break through and reach a higher cultivation base. After Jiang Chen returned, he immediately returned to his residence in the Purple Pill Pavilion. He was not in a hurry to search for medicinal herbs, because he knew that someone would come looking for him very soon. When that time came, he could just ask for whatever he needed. When the disciples of the Martial Pavilion returned to the Martial Pavilion, everything that had happened in the Star-Lord's ruins began to spread like wildfire. It was like a tornado had swept through the ears of everyone in the Martial Pavilion. Damn, this is too awesome. He killed the entire feather race. What a pity. What a pity that I couldn't participate in this training. What a pity.
Senior brother Jiang Chen is actually so terrifying. When he displayed his prowess in the beast battle arena, I thought that he was only strong in battle.
I didn't expect him to know formations too.
Brother, senior brother Jiang doesn't just know formations.
There's nothing he doesn't know. He's simply omnipotent.
Now everyone is guessing that senior brother Jiang is the reincarnation of a mighty figure.
That's right.
Many people have made breakthroughs in their cultivation after receiving guidance from senior brother Jiang. Furthermore, I heard that senior brother Jiang once went to the Everlasting Pavilion to talk about arrays. Even the Grand Elder of the Everlasting Pavilion, Chong Wan Shan, admired him very much and even addressed him as a teacher.
Isn't this the reincarnation of a great expert?
Otherwise, how could a young man at the Unity Origin realm be so proficient in so many things?
I'm so envious of those who received pointers from senior brother Jiang Chen. They are so lucky.
I wonder if I'll have the chance to receive pointers from senior brother Jiang Chen. I've encountered many problems in my cultivation.
The entire martial pavilion was talking about Jiang Chen. Countless people expressed their admiration towards him.
Those disciples who hadn't received any guidance from Jiang Chen now had another dream. And that was to receive guidance from Jiang Chen. They had all heard from the other disciples that Jiang Chen's guidance was always sharp and accurate, straight to the point of the vital parts of the body.
Purple Pill Pavilion, where Jiang Chen resided.
Jiang Chen and a Huang dog were leisurely sitting in the courtyard, ignoring the clamor outside. It could be said that they were enjoying a rare moment of leisure.
De Huang, how's your current state? Jiang Chen asked.
My cultivation is infinitely close to the Earth Origin realm.
I need to nourish my blood qi.
If I have enough blood qi, I'll be able to break through to the Earth Origin realm, De Huang dog said.
It's easy to nourish your blood qi. I'll just refine a dragon qi pill for you. My current state is similar to yours.
If I have the help of a dragon qi pill, breaking through to the 8th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm won't be a problem,
Jiang Chen said.
I'm afraid the ingredients for the dragon qi pill won't be easy to find, right?
De Huang dog said.
He naturally knew the powerful effects of the dragon qi pill. If he could obtain a perfect dragon qi pill, breaking through would be a piece of cake.
It's not hard to find.
81 kinds of ingredients are needed to refine the dragon qi pill.
The rarest is the dragon sungrass.
Although the dragon sungrass is precious, the Scarlet East region won't lack it. If there's a dragon sungrass in the Scarlet East region, it must be in the Purple Pill Pavilion,
Jiang Chen said.
He believed that it wouldn't be a problem for the Purple Pill Pavilion to take out 2 or 3 dragon sungrass. Not long after that, 3 figures arrived at Jiang Chen's side in a flurry. When Jiang Chen heard the commotion, a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He didn't need to think to know that his 3 disciples must have arrived.
Jiang Chen was also waiting for them to come.
Master, you're so awesome now. Before they arrived, they had already heard Feng Tianhua's voice. The door of the courtyard was violently opened, and Feng Tianhua and the other 2 barged in. The 3 old guys were smiling so widely that flowers were about to bloom on their faces.
Master, you're awesome, Master.
We've already heard about the Star Lord's ruins.
Master, tell me yourself. Are you the legendary reincarnation of a mighty figure? Aren't you a little too powerful?
That's right, Master.
Why are you so awesome?
You're simply omnipotent. Do you know that even the pavilion master of our Purple Pill Pavilion plans to ask you for advice?
Master is about to become a teacher of the human race.
The 3 of us have good taste. We came to acknowledge you as our master without hesitation. The 3 of them took turns to flatter him.
Jiang Chen couldn't help but laugh.
De Huang dog, who was at the side, couldn't stop laughing. However, Feng Tianhua and the other 2 didn't care about this and continued to flatter him. In fact, the 3 of them weren't just flattering him. They were using this method to express their admiration and respect for Jiang Chen. They really admired him too much. After they heard about the Star Lord's ruins, they were shocked by their master. They felt that their understanding of their master was far from enough.
All right, the 3 of you. The 3 of you came at the right time. I have something to talk to you about.
Jiang Chen waved his hand and planned to interrupt these 3 old guys. He was afraid that if he didn't interrupt them now, he didn't know how long these 3 people would continue flattering him.
Master, feel free to tell us what you need. Xueqi said. I'm going to refine pills now. I need you to help me find some medicinal ingredients.
I believe you already know the pavilion master's instructions. Jiang Chen said. On Mount Chiliang, Dan Qingzi had promised him in front of everyone. It was impossible that these three old guys didn't know about it. I know. The pavilion master said that all the medicinal ingredients in the Purple Pill Pavilion are open to you, master. If you need any medicinal ingredients, just tell us. The three of us will help you prepare them, Feng Tianhua said. The three of them were extremely enthusiastic. For them, it was their blessing to be able to do something for Jiang Chen. They were especially willing to serve him. I want these medicinal ingredients. Chapter 40-60. Feng Tianhua quickly took the pill recipe. As soon as he put it in front of his face, Wang Dongxue and Xueqi quickly gathered around him. You two bastards, why are you in such a hurry? Feng Tianhua said in a bad mood. This is master's pill recipe. It's priceless, Xueqi said in a bad mood. Xueqi said impatiently. To an alchemist, a pill formula was undoubtedly extremely precious. A good pill formula itself was priceless. They had already witnessed Jiang Chen's alchemy skills. On the paper in front of them was the pill formula written by Jiang Chen. Now that he had passed the pill formula to them, it was an incomparably great opportunity. How could they miss it? Xueqi said impatiently. Dragon Energy Pill. Feng Tianhua's eyes lit up. The three of them had completely memorized the pill recipe. They felt that refining this pill was extremely complicated. Even with their current strength, it was a little difficult to refine this Dragon Energy Pill. What a good Dragon Energy Pill. This pill nourishes qi and blood. It's truly priceless. If we can refine this pill, even if we refine it ourselves, the benefits will be endless. It will be very easy for our cultivation to improve. Wang Dongxue sighed. Yes, how can the pill recipe given by master be bad? Xueqi did not forget to flatter him. The Dragon Energy Pill is admittedly a superior pill and has unimaginable benefits for any cultivator. However, to perfectly concoct this pill is also very difficult. It requires an extremely brilliant concoction method. In my opinion, in the entire Purple Pill Pavilion, I'm afraid only master can concoct 100% Dragon Energy Pill. Moreover, this Dragon Yang grass is incomparably precious. It is destined that it is impossible to concoct a large amount of Dragon Energy Pills. Feng Tianhua said. The three of you, stop nagging here. Hurry up and prepare the medicinal ingredients. If you prepare more medicinal ingredients, I will give each of you a Dragon Energy Pill. Jiang Chen said in a bad mood. Hearing this, Feng Tianhua and the other two almost jumped up from the ground. Their eyes were filled with passion. They were waiting for their master to say this. They did not expect that Jiang Chen would really promise them. This was simply a big meat pie that fell from the sky, smashing them until they were a little dizzy. Although the recipe of the Dragon Qi Pill was precious, it was not as precious as the Dragon Qi Pill itself. With their level of alchemy, even if they could barely refine a Dragon Qi Pill, it would only be a 50% or 60% pill. Moreover, there was a great risk of failure. Once it failed, the loss would be great. It should be known that the medicinal ingredients needed to refine the Dragon Qi Pill were not cheap. Even the Purple Pill Pavilion did not have much stock of the Dragon Sun grass. Thank you, master. You are blessed with good fortune. Wang Dongxue was so excited that she couldn't speak coherently. Damn it, you bunch of old fellows are shamelessly flattering him. No matter what, he is still an elder of the Purple Pill Pavilion. De Huang Dog couldn't help but laugh out loud. Hee, however, Wang Dongxue and the other two just chuckled. In front of their master, they didn't need to be shameless. As long as their master was happy, they would all get benefits. Compared to the Dragon Qi Pill, being an elder was nothing. All right, Feng Tianhua, go and prepare the medicinal ingredients. Wang Dongxue, Xueqi, the two of you, don't let anyone disturb me for the next 3 days. Even if the pavilion master and the sect leader come, let them wait. Jiang Chen said. The three of them looked at each other and couldn't help but sigh. Master, if the sect leader and the pavilion master come, are we really going to let them wait? Xueqi said with uncertainty. In the entire Martial Pavilion, or even the entire Crimson East region, Jiang Chen was probably the only person who dared to say that he would let Wu Changtian and Dan Qingzi wait. If it were anyone else, if they encountered the sect leader of the Martial Pavilion and the pavilion master of the Purple Pill Pavilion, it would already be good if they didn't kneel down to welcome them. You are questioning my words. Jiang Chen frowned. I wouldn't dare. Whatever Master says is true. Don't worry, Master. You just have to focus on refining pills and cultivating in seclusion. Even if the Heavenly King comes, you have to wait outside the door, let alone the sect leader. Wang Dongxue saw that Jiang Chen was angry and hurriedly patted her chest as a guarantee. At this moment, the three of them suddenly became extremely firm. That was because they had a firm master who wouldn't even give face to the sect leader. In fact, the three of them also knew in their hearts that Jiang Chen might really be the reincarnation of an almighty. In front of an absolute almighty, a mere martial pavilion master in the heavenly source realm was nothing. Even if a Star Lord came, he would probably have to kneel down and lick Jiang Chen's boots. The three of them were overjoyed. Feng Tianhua went to the Purple Pill Pavilion to look for the medicinal ingredients for the Dragon Energy Pill. With Dan Qingzi's special permission, he had the right to enter the Purple Pill Pavilion for the first time and wantonly take medicinal ingredients. He had to find at least 5 sets of medicinal ingredients for the Dragon Energy Pill because he had to ensure that Jiang Chen could refine 5 Dragon Energy Pills. Otherwise, there would be no share for them. Wang Dongxue and Xueqi stood guard outside Jiang Chen's courtyard. They were dignified Earth Source Realm elders of the Purple Pill Pavilion and alchemists who were respected by everyone. At this moment, they were willing to act as doormen for Jiang Chen. For the first time, they didn't care about their reputation and wanted to announce to the public that they were Jiang Chen's disciples. At this time, becoming Jiang Chen's disciple had become an extremely proud thing. After the news of the Star Lord's ruin spread, there were countless people in the entire martial pavilion who dreamed of worshipping Jiang Chen as their master. Among them, there were probably many whose status and cultivation were above theirs. Feng Tianhua left quickly and returned quickly as well. From the time he left to the time he returned, it only took him an hour to bring back 5 sets of medicinal ingredients for refining the Dragon Energy Pill. Master, the medicinal ingredients are here. There are exactly 5 sets. Feng Tianhua placed a large pile of medicinal ingredients in front of Jiang Chen. Well, leave them here. You go out and guard the door. When the pill is refined, I will give it to you. Jiang Chen waved his hand at Feng Tianhua. Yes, Master. Feng Tianhua was immensely proud of himself as he strode out of the door. Together with Wang Dongxue and Xueqi, he became the most loyal doorman. They only had one task now, and that was to guard this place and not let a fly in to disturb Jiang Chen's alchemy. Why do you think Master is so powerful? Could he really be the reincarnation of an almighty? Wang Dongxue couldn't help but ask in a low voice. It's hard to say. I think it's very likely. He doesn't look very old, and his cultivation is only at the Unity Source realm. It's impossible for such a person to be so heaven-defying. He simply knows everything. If he's not the reincarnation of an almighty, it doesn't make sense at all. Xueqi also said, All right, you two guys. It's not good to talk about Master behind his back, isn't it? With Master's ability, do you think we can hide our conversation here from his ears? Feng Tianhua berated them. Yes. Let's not talk too much. Anyway, I have 100% respect for Master. Me too. Chapter 4061. These 3 old fellows were all arrogant elders in the Purple Pill Pavilion in the past. The alchemists of the Purple Pill Pavilion were originally very popular existences. Who would dare to be the slightest bit disrespectful? The 3 of them had probably never dreamt that there would be a day where they would respectfully address a martial pavilion disciple as master. In the courtyard, Jiang Chen and a Huang dog looked at each other and laughed. These 3 old guys were really funny. The reincarnation of the Almighty? Haha, I'm dying of laughter. I'm afraid they don't know that even the Almighty in their eyes is far inferior to you in terms of cultivation. The Huang dog laughed. The eternal world is a world of its own. Although the world is high-end, the cultivation system in the world is the same as the time we are in. It's just that the things we cultivate are different. You and I have already become Tao ancestor. All the cultivation experience can be used here. This is probably the only advantage we have in the eternal world. Jiang Chen said. This advantage is amazing. Just like now, the entire martial pavilion and the entire human clan in the Red East domain. Who doesn't regard you as a teacher? You're going to be the teacher of the whole nation soon. The Huang dog joked. Don't be arrogant. We still have to recognize ourselves. Now, the most important thing is to work hard to improve our cultivation. Without a strong cultivation, No matter how rich our experience is, it's useless. I couldn't resist Zhao Lingxiao's attack at all. I could only use the sky-climbing ladder to avoid it. Jiang Chen said, moreover, this small red east domain is just the starting point of our journey to the eternal world. We haven't found Feng yet, and we don't know where the monkey is. We still have a lot of things to do, but all of them must be based on strong cultivation and strength. Now, I'll start to refine the dragon qi pill to raise our cultivation to another level. De Huang Dog nodded and stopped talking. He let Jiang Chen refine the pill in peace. De Huang Dog naturally understood what Jiang Chen said. The eternal world was too big. They were still weak and pitiful. Cultivation experience was their only advantage. The most important thing now was to constantly improve his cultivation. Jiang Feng and Long Shersan aside, the Scarlet East region's conflict with the Harpies was something that their cultivation bases were far from being able to resolve. With Jiang Chen's current strength, he could only kill the most elementary Earth Source experts. The winged race expert they were about to face next would most likely be extremely powerful. He would definitely not be as simple as the lowest earthly source stage. After the battle at Scarlet Ridge Mountain, Jiang Chen had become a thorn in the side of the Harpies. It would not be an exaggeration to say that the Feather Race was about to unleash their true power on Jiang Chen. In the eyes of the Harpies, Jiang Chen posed a greater threat than the entire human race. Jiang Chen casually waved his hand and all the herbs on the ground flew up. To him, refining pills was a piece of cake. No matter what kind of pill he refined, it was a piece of cake for him. All of the herbs were tossed into the sea of flames by Jiang Chen. Without even moving his hands, he could refine the pill with just his thoughts. Jiang Chen's alchemy skills had already reached the pinnacle. If he claimed to be second, who would dare to claim to be first? Putting aside everything else, just this method of refining the dragon qi pill was enough to cause Dan Qingzi's mouth to drop to the point of being completely dumbfounded. Half an hour later, all 5 dragon qi pills had been refined. A perfect 100% effectiveness pill. In just half an hour, 5-10% dragon qi pills. It was hard to find another person who could do this. If the 3 old men outside knew that Jiang Chen had successfully concocted the pills, they would probably kneel down on the ground and kowtow to Jiang Chen 100 times. This was a little too shocking. Since when did pill refinement become such a simple thing? It was as easy as drinking cold water. How could the other alchemists of the Purple Pill Pavilion put their faces? You're as awesome as ever. If there's a need, call those 3 guys in now. De Huang Dog said. No need. Let them guard the door first. We'll refine the dragon energy pills first. After raising our cultivation, we'll go into seclusion to stabilize our cultivation. We'll come out in 3 days. Jiang Chen said. Those 3 old fellows were currently filled with anticipation for the dragon energy pills. If he gave them the dragon energy pills now, how would they have the mood to guard the door for him? All right, then this Lord Dog won't be polite. Big Yellow opened his mouth wide and swallowed the dragon qi pill. After that, he lied down on a nearby rock and started snoring loudly. Although they had been together for so many years, every time Jiang Chen saw De Huang Dog's cultivation method, he couldn't help but sigh, and even feel a little depressed. He could cultivate even while sleeping. How infuriating. Jiang Chen didn't want to waste any more time. He followed Big Yellow's example and swallowed the pill. These 2 barbaric guys, no matter if it was pills or demon souls, they were still barbaric and unreasonable. They weren't afraid that their bodies would explode at the same time. If outsiders were to see this, they would definitely prostrate themselves in admiration. Dragon energy pills not only contained powerful blood qi, but also incomparably dense energy. The impact of this energy was very strong. Jiang Chen swallowed a dragon energy pill. The blood qi in his body immediately went berserk. His 8 extraordinary meridians were in a state of agitation. Not long after, Jiang Chen's cultivation broke through, reaching the 8th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm. However, the medicinal power of the dragon energy pill was still not exhausted. There was still a very strong medicinal power in his body. Jiang Chen continued to refine it, and his cultivation was still constantly improving. One day later, De Huang Dog's cultivation advanced to the 1st heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm, while Jiang Chen's cultivation reached the peak of the 8th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm. He was only a step away from the 9th heavenly layer of the Unity Origin realm. However, the 2 of them didn't come out immediately. Instead, they continued to cultivate in seclusion. During this period of time, their cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds. The progress was a little too fast. Even with their abnormal foundation, they needed some time to recover. This was also the reason why Jiang Chen wanted to cultivate in seclusion for 3 days. The remaining 2 days were a buffer to completely stabilize his cultivation and make his foundation stronger. Feng Tianhua and the other 2 guarded outside the door. They weren't in a hurry at all. During these 3 days, they couldn't relax. Many Martial Pavilion disciples had come to visit them, but they had all been sent away. The few Earth Source Realm disciples who had just been sent away couldn't help but start discussing. Did you guys hear that just now? The 3 elders of the Purple Pill Pavilion said that Jiang Chen is their master. Why didn't I hear that? Moreover, their faces were full of pride. It seems that this Jiang Chen really has some heaven-defying means. I really envy them. If I had the chance to acknowledge Jiang Chen as my master, my cultivation would definitely advance by leaps and bounds. Chapter 4062. Everyone in the Martial Pavilion worshipped Jiang Chen like a god. The disciples who had come because of his reputation, especially the earthly source realm geniuses, had originally only wanted to give it a try. Now that such a figure had appeared in the Martial Pavilion, they naturally had to come and pay their respects. However, because of the pride that came from the bones of the earthly source realm geniuses, they were still somewhat unconvinced of Jiang Chen. After all, Jiang Chen's cultivation was only at the Unity Origin realm. They wanted to see if Jiang Chen was as amazing as the rumors said. They wanted to see if he could really make so many people chase after him and call him teacher. The result was even more outrageous than they had imagined. Even the 3 earthly source realm elders of the Purple Pill Pavilion were here to serve as Jiang Chen's doorman. They called him teacher with great respect. They had seen it with their own eyes, which was enough to prove how powerful Jiang Chen was. This also made them even more eager to get Jiang Chen's guidance. If Jiang Chen could guide them, they believed that with their talent, they would definitely be able to make great progress very quickly. The next day, Xueqi came again. This time, he was forced to come by his father to invite Jiang Chen to the city lord's mansion as a guest. Xueqi greets the 3 elders. When Xueqi saw Feng Tianhua and the other 2, he could not help but be stunned. He did not know why these 3 elders of the Purple Pill Pavilion were waiting outside Jiang Chen's room. However, the elders of the Purple Pill Pavilion still needed to be respected. Xueqi was a very polite child, so he immediately cupped his fists and spoke. "Oh, it's Xueqi. What's the matter?" Feng Tianhua said with a smile. They knew Xueqi's identity. Even though they were elders of the Purple Pill Pavilion, they did not dare to slight him. Not to mention that Xueqi was also an outstanding genius. Just Xueqi's father was an existence that they had to look up to and respect. There were 2 second heavenly source realm experts in the human race, and one of them was Xueqi's father. "I'm here on my father's orders to invite teacher to the city lord's mansion as a guest," Xueqi said. "Does the city lord want to invite master to be a guest?" Feng Tianhua was stunned. He did not expect that even the city lord of the divine martial arts city would personally invite Jiang Chen. From this, it could be seen that Jiang Chen's supreme position in the human race had been completely established. Given Xie Yunping's identity and status, how could he invite a fusion origin brat? Jiang Chen was probably the only one blessed by the heavens. This was enough to prove that Xie Yunping did not treat Jiang Chen as a simple disciple of the Martial Pavilion at the Origin Realm. He truly placed Jiang Chen on the same level as himself. "Master." Xueqi was also stunned. "That's right. The 3 of us have already acknowledged Jiang Chen as our masters on the first day. He came to the Martial Pavilion." Feng Tianhua said. "It's the kind that kowtows, a real master." Wang Dongxue quickly added. Kowtowing to a disciple of the Martial Pavilion was something that they would never have said in public if it was before. After all, it would damage the reputation of their elders. But now, this kind of shameful thing had undoubtedly become a kind of pride. It was a capital that could be used to brag about. In fact, this was indeed the case. After Xueqi learned that the 3 elders had kowtowed to acknowledge him as their master, not only did he not feel that it was the case, but his eyes were filled with envy. No one knew Jiang Chen's ability better than Xueqi. Back in the Qingyuan lightning pool, Xueqi and the others had a thorough understanding of Jiang Chen's ability. Given Jiang Chen's ability, he was fully qualified to be the master of Feng Tianhua and the other 2. These 3 old guys really had good taste. They had actually started to make their move long ago. Becoming a disciple of Jiang Chen was something that many people dreamed of. It was also something that Xueqi had dreamed of. Although Xueqi addressed Jiang Chen as his master and had received several pointers from Jiang Chen was not his master after all. This was more or less a pity. Master's attainments in alchemy are outstanding. He can casually refine pills with 100% effectiveness. Even the pavilion master of the Purple Pill Pavilion can't do that.
It's only right for the three of us to acknowledge him as our master,
Xueqi said. Hearing this, Xueqi could not help but smile. In alchemy, he actually had such high attainments. In this world, there was nothing that Jiang Chen was not proficient in. That's right. Xueqi should have already thought about why Jiang Chen joined the Purple Pill Pavilion despite having such great attainments in the formation. This in itself had already explained the problem. That was, Jiang Chen's attainments in alchemy were probably even better than his attainments in formations. Now, even the three elders of the Purple Pill Pavilion had said so. This caused Xueqi's respect and admiration for Jiang Chen to reach another peak. Xueqi, it's not that we don't want you to go in. Master has specifically instructed us not to let anyone disturb us for 3 days. Only 1 day has passed. Why don't you come back in 2 days? Feng Tianhua said. He did not dare to refute the city lord's mansion, but Jiang Chen had specifically instructed him to wait even if the sect leader came. The status of the city lord of the divine martial city was the same as that of the pavilion master of the martial pavilion. Since Jiang Chen said that even the sect leader had to wait when he came, the city lord was naturally no exception. Moreover, it was not the city lord himself who came, but the city lord's son. Of course, master is going to cultivate in seclusion, so Xueqi does not dare to disturb him. I have nothing to do these 2 days anyway, so I'll just wait here, Xueqi said. Xueqi had already instructed Feng Tianhua and the other two. Even if he did not instruct them, he would not dare to disturb Jiang Chen even if he knew that Jiang Chen did not care. Child, if you are willing to wait, then wait here. Feng Tianhua shook his head helplessly. In the next 2 days, Jiang Chen's place could be said to be as crowded as a marketplace. The people who came to visit came in groups. Many of them were elders of the martial pavilion and were all earthly source realm experts. Jiang Chen was now really famous. His influence in the human race had even surpassed that of Wu Changtian and Xie Yunpeng. There were so many people who came to visit that even Feng Tianhua and the other two didn't expect it. Feng Tianhua and the other two finally understood why Jiang Chen wanted the three of them to personally guard this place. If Zhang San and Li Si were to stay here, the two of them would be scared out of their wits when they encountered so many earthly source realm experts. Master is not free. No matter who came, the three of them would directly send them away with the same sentence. Feng Tianhua and the other two were simply exhilarated. No matter how powerful the people usually were, they now had to greet them with a smile and give them enough face. This was because the three of them were Jiang Chen's disciples. Just this identity alone was enough for them to be so proud that they would wake up laughing even in their dreams. In the current martial pavilion, who did not want to become Jiang Chen's disciple? Chapter 4063. 2 days passed very quickly. At this time, Jiang Chen's cultivation had completely stabilized at the peak of the 8th level of the Unity Source Realm. He was only 1 step away from the 9th level of the Unity Source Realm. Moreover, it was a very simple step away. With Jiang Chen's ability, he could easily find an opportunity to break through. However, Jiang Chen was not in a hurry now. If he could break through in battle, that would be the best. For him, there would be too many opportunities to fight in the future. De Huang Dog's cultivation had stabilized at the peak of the 1st level of the Earth Source Realm. It could be said that he was extremely powerful. The effect of the Dragon Qi pill was exactly as Jiang Chen had expected. For a great alchemist like Jiang Chen, he could concoct any pill he needed with just a wave of his hand. This was a unique advantage that ordinary people couldn't have. Little Chenzi, there are a lot of people gathered outside the door. Many people are probably lining up to ask for advice. De Huang Dog chuckled. The scene outside the door could not be hidden from De Huang's perception. Go and call Feng Tianhua and the other two in first, Jiang Chen said. Where are the others? De Huang asked. Let's wait first. Jiang Chen smiled. In the entire Crimson East region, Jiang Chen was the only one who dared to speak like this. Similarly, in the entire martial pavilion, Jiang Chen was probably the only one who could have a crowded residence. Furthermore, he was a disciple at the Unity Source realm. Creak. When the door was opened, many of them immediately looked over in high spirits. They saw a dog swaggering out of the room and immediately became the focus of everyone's attention. Big Yellow's deeds had already spread like wildfire, just like Jiang Chen's. No one dared to look down on this dog, especially those who had been to the remains of the Star Lord. They had witnessed the terror of Big Yellow with their own eyes. Feng Tianhua, the three of you go in first. Your master has something to tell you. De Huang Dog said to Feng Tianhua and the other two. Okay. The three of them immediately beamed with excitement. Only the three of them knew why Jiang Chen was looking for them. It must be because the Dragon Chi Pill had been refined successfully. Thinking about how they were about to obtain the Dragon Chi Pill, anyone would not be able to help but be excited, let alone them. As for why the three of them were allowed to go in alone, the three of them also understood. There were only so many Dragon Chi Pills in total. If word got out, it would probably cause unnecessary agitation. Moreover, Jiang Chen's decision to meet the three of them alone had given the three of them a lot of face. As Jiang Chen's land, from now on, and even for many years to come, it would become the proudest thing for the three of them. It was enough for them to boast about it for 100 years. The rest of you, please wait for a moment. I know why you guys are here. Don't worry, Jiang Chen is contributing to the human race out of his own free will. He won't ask for anything in return. De Huang Dog said to the hundreds of people gathered outside. Everyone could not help but cheer when they heard that. From the Earth Source Elders to the Unity Source disciples, everyone was overjoyed. They could not help but raise their thumbs at Jiang Chen. He had been waiting here for so long just for this sentence. Teacher Jiang Chen is truly a role model for the human race. Would anyone else be able to do such a selfless thing? That's true. Teacher Jiang Chen is omnipotent. Just a single pointer from him would be the finishing touch, and it would bring unimaginable benefits to our cultivation. Even if we were to go bankrupt, we would still be willing to beg for such a pointer. Now that Teacher Jiang Chen doesn't ask for anything in return, he is worthy of the word teacher. Teacher Jiang Chen has already come out of seclusion. After Feng Tianhua and the other elders come out, we can go in. However, everyone, listen to me. When we go in, we will ask Teacher Jiang Chen for pointers in an orderly manner. Don't be impatient. If you make teacher unhappy, I won't forgive you. An elder at the seventh heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm said loudly. The others also nodded in agreement. They felt that this elder's words made a lot of sense, especially the phrase first come, first served. It was even more convincing. Obviously, in front of Jiang Chen, there was no longer any difference in status when it came to asking for pointers from Jiang Chen. Those who could come here had already thrown away their dignity. Even if an Earth Source realm expert came to ask for pointers, in the eyes of others, it was normal and not shameful at all. This was just like Feng Tianhua and the other three Earth Source realm alchemists of the Purple Pill Pavilion standing here to be Jiang Chen's doormen. Not only would they not be mocked by others, but they would also be envious of them. Xueqi saw all of this, and his eyes could not help but burn with passion. He did not know when he would be able to reach Jiang Chen's level. Of course, he did not dare to hope for this. If he could reach 1/10 of Jiang Chen's level in this life, it would be a great blessing. Jiang Chen's approach also made Xueqi admire him greatly. Now that the feather race was eyeing them covetously, there would be a life-and-death battle with the human race sooner or later. Jiang Chen was not stingy with his teachings, and he was improving the overall strength of the human race. Once the overall strength was improved, the human race would have an absolute advantage in the life-and-death battle with the feather race. This was just like in the ruins of the Star Lord of Crimson Ridge Mountain. After receiving guidance from Jiang Chen, the disciples of the Martial Pavilion became like wolves and tigers. They killed the feather race disciples until they were trembling with fear, like stray dogs. As for inviting Jiang Chen to the City Lord's mansion as a guest, compared to Jiang Chen's guidance of the disciples of the Martial Pavilion, it was not so important. Therefore, when he saw such a scene, Xueqi was no longer in a hurry. After Jiang Chen was done with the matters of the Martial Pavilion, he would send him an invitation. In the courtyard, Feng Tianhua and the other two stood respectfully in front of Jiang Chen. The three of them were laughing and rubbing their hands together. They looked nervous and excited. These are 3 dragon energy pills. You guys can take them. Jiang Chen casually waved his hand, and the 3 dragon energy pills immediately flew out. The The three of them were quick to react and grabbed the dragon energy pills in their hands. Then, they brought the pills to their eyes to take a closer look. With one look, the expressions of the three of them changed. This master, this pill is too precious. We are too embarrassed to accept it. Feng Tianhua's tone was a little shaky as he spoke. He couldn't help but stutter. They were indeed eager for the dragon energy pills, but the level of the dragon energy pills in front of them was much higher than they had imagined. They were so precious that they were simply too embarrassed to accept it without doing anything. 3rd grade 10 dragon energy pills. Master, this pill is the best I have ever seen in my life. Even our pavilion master can't refine it. Chapter 4064. Feng Tianhua and the other two were considered to have entered the ranks of 3rd grade alchemists. Although their alchemy skills were far inferior to Jiang Chen's, they still had a certain level of insight. With their insight, they could naturally see the level of Jiang Chen's dragon energy pill. It was precisely because they could see the level of the dragon energy pill that they did not dare to accept this gift. To be honest, after the three of them recognized Jiang Chen as their master, they had never really contributed to Jiang Chen. On the other hand, Jiang Chen had helped them several times, causing them to undergo earth-shaking changes. Now, Jiang Chen had taken out the unparalleled dragon energy pill. From the bottom of their hearts, they could not accept it, even though they were extremely eager for this pill. If I give it to you, just take it. If you continue to be shy, I will take it back. Jiang Chen said in annoyance. He knew what the three of them were thinking, but this dragon energy pill was indeed nothing to him. As long as there were enough medicinal ingredients, he could refine this kind of pill easily. Refining the dragon energy pill was as easy and casual as eating a meal. In that case, I won't stand on ceremony. Feng Tianhua quickly put away the pill. Wang Dongxue and Xueqi no longer hesitated. If they really took the pill back, the three old guys would probably regret it even in their dreams and cry. I don't know how to repay Master's great kindness, Xueqi said. Don't worry, there will be a time for you to repay me in the future, Jiang Chen said lightly. Okay, in the future, if Master has any instructions, the three of us will definitely not dare to be the slightest bit stubborn. Even if we have to climb a mountain of swords or plunge into a sea of flames, we will not hesitate at all. Wang Dongxue patted her chest and promised. Okay, the three of you can leave. Let the people outside line up and come in batches. Jiang Chen waved his hand at the three of them, signaling them to leave. Okay. The three of them bowed towards Jiang Chen, then turned around and walked out. Even if Jiang Chen hadn't said anything, they would have left as soon as possible. The dragon chi pill was too attractive to them. Now that they had it in their hands, they couldn't wait to refine it. The three of them opened the door. Feng Tianhua took a step forward and said loudly to the crowd outside the door, Master has said to line up and enter in batches. 10 people will enter at a time. From today onwards, anyone in the martial pavilion who wants Master's guidance can come. Feng Tianhua held his head high, like an imperial envoy issuing an imperial edict. His face was full of arrogance. Voila! As soon as Feng Tianhua finished speaking, the entire crowd began to become restless. It was a frenzied restlessness. It could be seen that everyone had become extremely excited. Under the leadership of the elder, the crowd had already lined up, waiting for Jiang Chen to speak. The martial pavilion had strict discipline. Now that Jiang Chen's words were like an imperial edict, they naturally had to obey. The first batch to enter consisted of 3 elders and disciples of the martial pavilion. Li Long was among them. This guy hadn't received any guidance from Jiang Chen in the ruins of the Star Lord of Scarlet Mountain. He had always felt extremely regretful. Now that he had returned to the martial pavilion, how could Li Long miss such a great opportunity? The 10 people entered the courtyard. After about a quarter of an hour, the door was opened again, and the 10 people walked out in an orderly manner. Waha! Amazing, amazing. Teacher Jiang Chen is really amazing. This predicament that has affected me for 10 years was actually eliminated in an instant under Teacher Jiang Chen's guidance. The hidden danger buried in my body for more than a decade has also been eliminated by Teacher Jiang Chen. In less than a month, my cultivation will be able to advance to the 5th level of the Earth Source realm. The reincarnation of an Almighty. It's definitely the reincarnation of an Almighty. Only the reincarnation of a true Almighty would have such ability. In front of Teacher Jiang Chen, we should all be his disciples. The moment the people who came out walked out of the courtyard, they all jumped up and down in excitement, as if they had gone mad. Even the Earth Source elders were no exception. Their usual dignified demeanor had completely vanished, and they did not pay any attention to their own appearances.
Holy shit, is it really that amazing? Quick, quick, the second batch hurry in. It's too amazing. I must receive Teacher Jiang Chen's guidance.
The reincarnation of an almighty descending upon our martial pavilion is our martial pavilion's fortune. The overall strength of the martial pavilion will greatly increase, and with this increase, it's only a matter of time before we surpass the feather race. The people who were still waiting outside became even more excited. Everyone could not wait any longer. The second batch of 10 people all took a deep breath and adjusted their state of mind, before walking towards the courtyard. Some of them were thinking about how they should greet Teacher Jiang Chen humbly when they saw him later. Another 15 minutes later, the second batch of people walked out in high spirits. Every single one of them cheered loudly, as if they had gone mad. There was no reason for them not to be excited. All the problems that they had been suppressing in their hearts had been resolved by Jiang Chen, so there was no way they could not be excited.
Amazing, just too amazing. I need to go back and tell my brother to come as well. That's right.
Although your brother is already a genius at the third heavenly layer of the Earth Source realm, he's nothing compared to Teacher Jiang Chen. If your brother can receive Teacher Jiang Chen's guidance, reaching the fourth heavenly layer in a month won't be a problem at all. Being able to receive Teacher Jiang Chen's guidance is the fortune of my life. From today onwards, Teacher Jiang Chen will be my idol for life. The people who left were all incomparably satisfied. It was easy to imagine that there would be more and more disciples coming in addition to these people. The path of cultivation had always been like rowing a boat against the current. No matter how talented one was, they would still encounter all sorts of problems. If someone could help them solve their problems, no one would reject it. Very soon, the news that Jiang Chen was going to open up the Martial Pavilion to the public spread. In a short period of time, the entire Martial Pavilion was in an uproar. Those who had not received Teacher Jiang Chen's guidance began to rush towards the Purple Pill Pavilion in a hurry. Even the lofty earthly source genius disciples and countless earthly source elders, including those at the 8th or 9th heavenly layer, had come without any regard for their pride. In a short period of time, Jiang Chen had become the teacher of the entire nation, causing the entire Martial Pavilion to boil with excitement.
Chapter 4065. As such, Jiang Chen was not stingy with his teachings.
It was not a loss to him at all, and he had also obtained the benefits he wanted from the Martial Pavilion. Ever since he had stepped into the Martial Pavilion, Jiang Chen had made use of its resources. There was no need to mention the Purple Pill Pavilion. The Beast Battle Arena was also a stepping stone for his growth. In the next 2 days, the entire Martial Pavilion was in an uproar. In the end, even the elders and disciples of the Purple Pill Pavilion and Everlasting Pavilion came over. In a short period of time, Jiang Chen's status as a teacher of the nation was confirmed. His status in the Martial Pavilion had already surpassed Wu Changtian and the 2 pavilion masters. What was truly terrifying was that every single person that had received guidance from Jiang Chen would come out and say that Jiang Chen was amazing. He was so amazing that he could perfectly answer all the various questions that so many people had. This was just too terrifying. If it was just 1 or 2 people, it would still make sense, but it was a little too much for everyone to be able to answer. This matter had already alarmed the upper echelons of the Martial Pavilion. In the end, even the heavenly source elders could no longer hold themselves back. At the top of a pill tower in the Purple Pill Pavilion, over 20 heavenly source experts were gathered together. Their gazes were fixed on the place where Jiang Chen lived. It had been 2 days, and the place was as crowded as a marketplace. Sect Master, isn't this Jiang Chen a little too terrifying? Can he really solve everyone's problems? Just how much experience does he have in cultivation? Dan Qingzi could not help but say, yeah, we can understand if he can solve 1 or 2 problems, but if he can solve everyone's problems, that's amazing. Could he really be the reincarnation of a supreme expert? Zhen Yang could not help but sigh. He did not dare to believe such a scene. It doesn't matter if Jiang Chen is the reincarnation of a supreme expert or not. This is a great fortune for our Martial Pavilion. Moreover, everything he does is definitely for the sake of our human race. The Martial Pavilion must protect such a person. Wu Changtian said solemnly. The sect leader is right. This Jiang Chen is too scary. The feather race will only be satisfied if they plan to get rid of Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen has become a great threat to the feather race. That's normal. It's fortunate that such a nature-defying existence is from our martial pavilion. If the Feather Clan had such an existence, we old fellows wouldn't be able to sleep well. However, it won't be easy for the Feather Clan to kill Jiang Chen. I'm sure you haven't forgotten how Jiang Chen easily dodged Zhao Lingxiao's full-powered attack. He can even dodge the attack of a heavenly source expert. How can someone like that be killed so easily? The heavenly source experts were all stunned. Jiang Chen had left an unimaginable impression in their hearts. The humans of the Crimson East region were rather united, so no one was jealous of Jiang Chen. Everyone believed that Jiang Chen's existence was a great thing for the martial pavilion. This was also the reason why Jiang Chen was willing to stay here to help the martial pavilion. It was because of the unity of the human race. If the humans here were the same as the ones he had met in the past, full of deceit and intrigue, with factions and factions fighting against each other, Jiang Chen would have left long ago. He wouldn't have the mood to stay here and guide them. Let alone the disciples and elders. Even I want to find Jiang Chen for guidance. A first heavenly layer heavenly source elder had said. The other heavenly source elders could not help but look at each other, seeing the desire in each other's eyes. It seemed that there was more than one heavenly source expert who wanted Jiang Chen's guidance. But wouldn't it be a little too embarrassing for us old fellows to find a Unity Origin disciple to guide us? Someone asked. If you're afraid of losing face, you don't have to go. I've decided to go anyway, but I'll only go after everyone has left, someone said. There's nothing embarrassing about it. There's nothing shameful about it. If Jiang Chen can really help us break through, then the overall strength of our martial pavilion will rise to a whole new level, especially for us heavenly source experts. If our cultivation base can advance to another level, we can definitely fight against the Yu clan. At that time, we'll definitely have an overwhelming advantage. Wu Chongtian said. Zhan Yang and Dan Qingzi looked at each other, seeing the burning desire in each other's eyes. This was a matter that concerned the future of the human race, as well as the increase of their own cultivation. What was face worth at a time like this? What's more, Jiang Chen was just too amazing. Aside from his cultivation, he surpassed them in every other aspect. He was a classic example of a reincarnated powerhouse. Even if they sought guidance from Jiang Chen, it would not be embarrassing at all. Jiang Chen's status in the hearts of the people of the martial pavilion had already been established. He was an existence that stood at the apex of the pyramid. Everyone believed that Jiang Chen was a reincarnated powerhouse. How could it be embarrassing for a heavenly source expert to seek guidance from a reincarnated powerhouse? It was a very normal matter. Then, should we go find Jiang Chen after he's done with his matters? Dan Qingzi suggested. We've already been busy for a few days. In my opinion, there's no need to rush. Let's let Jiang Chen rest for a few days. After all, the problem we've encountered is probably much more difficult to solve than the problems of others. Wu Chongtian said. What sect leader said makes sense. Our problem is definitely harder to solve than the others. Let's just let Jiang Chen rest for a while. After teaching so many people continuously, just the energy consumption alone is not something an ordinary person can bear. Zhan Yang nodded. In reality, they had no idea that they were overthinking things. In Jiang Chen's eyes, there was no difference between guiding heavenly source experts and unity origin experts. The problems that they had encountered were not even worth mentioning in Jiang Chen's eyes. Another 2 days passed. A large number of people from the martial pavilion had been guided by Jiang Chen. At this time, Xueqi, who had been waiting bitterly for several days, finally walked into Jiang Chen's courtyard. In the courtyard, Jiang Chen was sitting on a stone bench, drinking tea in a leisurely manner. Xueqi could not help but be taken aback. He had originally thought that Jiang Chen would be exhausted after continuously guiding so many people, but who would have thought that Jiang Chen would still be as energetic as before? Xueqi couldn't help but admire his energy. He admired him so much that he wanted to prostrate himself before him. Xueqi, what's the matter?
Chapter 4066.
Teacher, I've come on my father's behalf to invite you to the city lord's estate as a guest. Xueqi didn't mince his words and stated his intentions. Is the city lord's invitation? Jiang Chen nodded. His face was as calm as an ancient well, without the slightest ripple of emotion. Even if a great figure like the city lord had taken the initiative to invite him, he still felt that it was a matter of course. My father greatly admires teacher's talent, so he wishes to be the host of the divine martial city. I hope that teacher will do me the honor. Xueqi clasped his fists. Ever since the Qingyuan lightning pool, his attitude towards Jiang Chen had been as respectful as ever. I naturally cannot refuse the city lord's invitation. Xueqi, lead the way. Jiang Chen said and stood up. Haha, not bad, not bad. We can go to the city lord's estate to eat and drink to our heart's content. Big Yellow was laughing out excitedly, and his saliva was dripping down from his mouth. He was such a good-for-nothing, and Jiang Chen couldn't help but want to kick Big Yellow's fat butt. The city lord's estate was the most eye-catching place in the divine martial city apart from the martial pavilion. Everyone knew that there were 3 colossal entities in the divine martial city of the Crimson East region. The martial pavilion went without saying, but the other 2 were the city lord's estate and the Yun clan. The patriarch of the Yun family, Yun Sinan, was below Xie Yunping in terms of cultivation. One was at the first heavenly layer while the other was at the second heavenly layer. As a result, the Yun clan's status in the city was slightly lower than the city lord's estate. If these 3 colossal entities had to be ranked in order, they would naturally be the martial pavilion, the city lord's estate, and the Yun clan. The entire city lord's estate was in an uproar when they heard that Jiang Chen was going to the city lord's estate as a guest. The gates of the estate were decorated with lanterns and streamers, and there was a long queue to welcome him. News of what had happened on Chiliang Mountain had long since spread throughout the mission area. The city lord's estate, which was relatively close to the martial pavilion, knew everything that had happened in the past few days. Jiang Chen had already become the most famous teacher in the martial pavilion. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was the teacher of the entire nation. With Xie Yunping's remarkable abilities, nothing that happened in the martial pavilion could be hidden from him. Currently, apart from the group of heavenly source experts, almost everyone else in the martial pavilion had been taught by Jiang Chen. Even the elders at the peak of Earth Source Realm took the initiative to seek guidance from Jiang Chen, and received unexpected results. Xie Yunping couldn't help but be shocked, even more so than when he met Jiang Chen on Mount Qiling. Giving pointers to 1 or 2 people might be a coincidence, but to be able to solve the cultivation problems of tens of thousands of people, that was not something that could be explained by luck and coincidence. By now, Xie Yunping had almost the same thought as everyone else. Jiang Chen must be the reincarnation of some great expert. If he really was the reincarnation of a great expert, even the city lord's estate would have to respect him. He would not dare to put on any airs in front of Jiang Chen. Xie Yunping even wanted to learn from Jiang Chen. He had been cultivating for so many years and had worked so hard to get to where he was today. However, it was extremely difficult for him to advance further in his cultivation. The higher the level of an expert, the more problems they would encounter in their cultivation, and the more difficult it would be to solve them. Moreover, they had already stood at the top of the pyramid in the Qidong region. Apart from themselves, no one could give them guidance. Now that a great expert like Jiang Chen had appeared, he saw a glimmer of hope. At this moment, in another colossal entity in Divine Martial City, the Yun clan. The upper echelons of the Yun clan had gathered in the meeting hall of the Yun clan. Patriarch Yun Sinan was pacing back and forth. Father, don't walk around. You're making your head dizzy. An incomparably beautiful girl could not help but say. If Jiang Chen saw this girl, he would be very familiar with her. She was Chen Yiren, who had a conflict with him before. Yiren, the city lord's mansion is bustling with activity. They have already invited Jiang Chen as a guest. How can I not be anxious? Who is Jiang Chen? He is now a teacher of the whole nation. Since Xie Yunping has invited him, we should also invite him. Yun Sinan said. Patriarch, it's not difficult. When Jiang Chen comes out of the city lord's mansion, we can invite him. One of the elders said. It's easy for you to say. The reincarnation of a great expert like Jiang Chen is not easy to invite. You haven't seen that Jiang Chen can easily dodge Zhao Lingxiao's attack. Such a person's arrogance is not something we can imagine. Xie Yunping was able to invite him because his precious son has a good relationship with Jiang Chen. Our Yun clan has never had any interaction with Jiang Chen. If we take the liberty to invite him and he refuses, wouldn't it be extremely embarrassing? Yun Sinan sighed. If Jiang Chen refused the Yun clan's invitation, he would have no place to hide his old face. I really didn't expect this guy to be so powerful. Chen Yiren muttered. Irin, don't talk nonsense. Jiang Chen is now a hero of the human clan, and you too. You didn't choose to go into seclusion earlier or later, but chose to go into seclusion during the Chilling Mountain incident. If you had followed him into the Chilling Mountain, you might have already established a relationship with Jiang Chen. Yun Sinan couldn't help but complain. Although he was complaining, it was clear that he loved this adopted daughter very much. I didn't know that there would be a Star Lord's relic in the Chilling Mountain, but I do have some relationship with Jiang Chen. Chen Irin said. Irin, you know Jiang Chen? Yun Sinan's face immediately lit up. If Chen Irin and Jiang Chen were friends, it would be great. Yes, I knew him when he first came to the Martial Pavilion's assessment in the Divine Martial City. Chen Irin nodded. Haha, that's great. You two must have a good relationship. Yun Sinan laughed happily. It's nothing. I taught his dog a lesson, but I was defeated by Jiang Chen. Chen Irin said embarrassedly. What? Taught his dog a lesson? That dog? The Da Huang dog that had displayed its invincible might on the Chilling Mountain? The smile on Yun Sinan's face instantly froze. It turned out that this was how Chen Irin and Jiang Chen met. They had started fighting the first time they met. It would be better if they didn't know each other at all. Father, I'm not such a petty person and won't get angry over such a small matter. However, I can't guarantee that Jiang Chen won't be angry with your two precious daughters. Chen Irin shrugged her shoulders. Those two little girls, what did they do? Yun Sinan suddenly recalled his two precious daughters who claimed to be the Yun family's twin prides. They were sent to the Martial Pavilion to cultivate together with Chen Irin. These two lawless girls were fearless, and if they offended Jiang Chen, it would be disastrous. Chen Irin recounted how the Yun residence's prides had caused trouble for Jiang Chen in the Genesis Chi Tower, and how they had been taught a lesson by Jiang Chen. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.